highs in the upper 70s. You're listening to Real Resistance Radio.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Dominic, Tuesday.
Are you sure? It feels like a Monday to me.
Buddy. Buddy, this is a stupendously large Tuesday for a number of reasons. First and foremost, Michael Cohen going, live to a plea deal hearing? Status update, apparently Michael Cohen has reached a deal with federal prosecutors. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But Dominic, I am here in the broadcast bunker, and I did not necessarily plan for that today, but God or Mother Nature or just the clouds dropped 13 inches of rain in my backyard overnight, Dom.
Damn.
Yeah, there is lots of problems. State of emergency in Dane County. We're going to check in with the county executive, Joe Parisi, in the 5 o'clock hour. We're going to talk about why Crudy can't get to the Beltline from Middleton.
Wow.
And all parts west. Lots of standing water, lots of problems here in Dane County. Also, my congressman, Mark Pocan, in the 3 o'clock hour today. So we'll look forward to Mark. Tomorrow's big show, Dom, we got lots of big shows this week ahead as well. Phil Anderson, Libertarian gubernatorial candidate.
Phil.
Our old buddy Phil will join us tomorrow. New Marquette University Law School polling drops tomorrow, Dom. Charles Franklin on tomorrow's big show. As is the custom, he'll lead the happy hour. And then here's one I'm excited to tell everyone about. I want to meet Ed Wall face-to-face. He's coming tomorrow.
Now, who is Ed Wall again?
Ed Wall was the Department of Corrections Secretary under Scott Walker. He is the author of a very good new book, a page-turner, if you will, Dom. It's called Unethical, and it's sort of an insider's tell-all on the Scott Walker administration. And Ed Wall's coming in studio tomorrow at 5:30. And when I say in studio, coming here to the broadcast bunker.
That is awesome.
I asked Ed's publicist, Ed, of course, on a book tour trying to sell some books, Dom. But I gave her two options on behalf of Ed. I said he could come 4:30, he could come prior to the new Marquette polling, or he could come at 5:30, and then I'd take him out for a beer afterwards.
And 5:30 it is.
5:30 it is.
All right.
It will be a happy hour tomorrow. I'll get to know Ed Wall a little bit better.
You know, it seems like there's a lot of Republicans that, I don't know, are flipping on Governor Walker, supporting Evers.
Well, there's at least two, but you missed your homework yesterday. That's yesterday's news. Dom, let's talk about today. Michael Cohen and this, I don't know if it's stunning breaking news, but it's certainly breaking news. And we may go live at some point here with our partners, Westwood One. But Dom, what's going on with Michael Cohen, the fixer?
The Washington Post is reporting President Trump's former lawyer, Michael Cohen, has surrendered to the FBI in New York as he prepares to plead guilty Tuesday afternoon in an investigation into his activities and business dealings, according to people familiar with the matter. Expected to plead guilty to charges relating to bank fraud, tax fraud, and a campaign finance violation, according to two people with knowledge of the situation. Cohen agreed to the deal after prosecutors claimed he risked more than a dozen years in prison.
Now let's stop for just a moment, Dominic. Campaign finance violation?
What?
I don't recall Michael Cohen running for anything.
No.
Whose campaign do you think he violated the law on behalf of, Dom?
The Trump campaign. I'm just throwing it out there. That's a guess.
That's an excellent guess, I would guess. A hearing in the case scheduled for 4 p.m. That's Eastern time. That's right about now, Dom.
Right now.
Tuesday at the federal courthouse in Manhattan. Afterwards, Deputy U.S. Attorney Robert Kuzumi, who has been overseeing the probe, is scheduled to make public remarks. We'll bring you those live if we're able. The plea discussions follows a months-long grand jury investigation into Cohen's activities, including his taxi business, as well as the hush money payment that Cohen arranged to an adult film actress, Stormy Daniels, who claimed to have had a tryst with Trump years ago.
Now, let's stop right there. Let's assume that is the campaign finance violation. Then is Cohen taking the rap for Trump on this?
I'm not clear that he's going to take the rap exclusively, Dom. Let me read on from the Post piece. Cohen has said he used a home equity line of credit, a HELOC, Dom, to finance a $130,000 payment to Daniels in October of 2016, a month before the 2016 election. It's not clear if Cohen has agreed to cooperate the ongoing special counsel investigation surrounding Trump, but a plea agreement by Cohen, long the self-professed fixer for Trump, could ratchet up the legal pressure on the president. The news about Cohen's negotiations with prosecutors come as a jury in the criminal trial of Trump's former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, is deliberating for a fourth day. And, Dom, I understand they're also nearing a verdict could drop today on this big show. I'll read on briefly. Cohen has sent repeated signals that he's likely to cooperate in exchange for leniency from prosecutors, reminded that he had previously vowed to take a bullet or do anything to protect the president. Cohen told ABC in July that Trump is not his top priority. Now, here's a quote, Tom. To be crystal clear, my wife, my daughter, my son, and this country have my first loyalty.
And
that
don't
sounds
forget
like
a fat stack of Benjamins.
Well, that sounds like a rat to me, Dom.
Last month, Cohen attorney Lanny Davis released an audio recording of a September 2016 conversation between Trump and Cohen in which they discussed a deal that a Playboy model made to sell the rights to her story of an alleged affair with Trump. The move was seen as a dramatic turn against Trump by the Cohen camp. Trump's current attorney and advisors, Crudy, have said he has nothing to fear from Cohen. And here's a quote from Rudy Giuliani. If he gets indicted for something that has nothing to do with the president, well, I feel sorry for Michael. Although I don't know how sorry I feel for him because he was tape recording the world and deceiving them, including his client. But this has nothing to do with us. Nothing to do with us, Crudy.
That's Giuliani's statement. The old truth isn't the truth, Giuliani.
Truth is not truth. Alternative facts.
I got to say, once you make a statement publicly on Meet the Press, truth isn't truth, you lose a little credibility. I'm just saying.
Did he have any more credibility to lose? Come on. And we were talking, about $20 million, the reporting I've seen with regards to the bank fraud that Cohen apparently engaged in. I think to myself, $20 million. So we're supposed to believe he went to a HELOC for $130,000 while he's out scamming banks for $20 million. I'm not clear. I'm waiting. I cannot wait to hear what the prosecutors have to say in this case. And as Crudy mentioned, we will bring it live when it happens.
Dominic, my understanding, the prosecutor seeking 3 to 5 years in Club Fed against Michael Cohen. Now, that seems like a long time away from wife and son and daughter and country. But 3 to 5 years is a lot less than prosecutors could have sought. 12 years or more on the bank fraud charges. So one must assume there is some form of cooperation, although it's still in question, Dom. I'm not clear if Cohen is going to be required to cooperate or not. Perhaps his pleading of guilt is enough to, let's just say, find his unindicted co-conspirator also guilty of the crime.
Well, that's interesting. And, of course, we'll hopefully find this out in very short order. But if it's if it's the campaign finance violation, the question then becomes, did Trump know of this effort? Now,
Yes, of course he did.
And we have the recording. I mean, we know that it was discussed. So if he pleads guilty to campaign finance violations, is that just another arrow in the quiver for Mueller as he goes to Trump? Because, of course, Trump was there. We heard the recording. He was fully aware of it as well. So is that one of the charges that would be coming? And then as part of this deal, would his former personal attorney have to testify to that against his boss?
Maybe you don't need his cooperation when he recorded all the conversations.
Right.
Dom, I want to get a piece started here. A perjury trap. Now, I'm talking about Donald Trump. Donald Trump's been asked to testify before Mueller, and this article, this opinion piece by Paul Waldman at the Post, does have some frame of reference, but you let me know, Dom, if we're ready to go live to Cohen.
All right.
As we get closer to the end of Special Counsel Robert S. Mueller's investigation of the Russian attack on the 2016 election, and whatever related crimes might have been committed here at home, President Trump and his legal team are becoming more and more resistant to the idea of answering Mueller's questions. The explanations they are offering that such an interview would be a perjury trap is simultaneously ridiculous and all but an admission that the President of the United States is guilty of something. But most of all, it's disingenuous because perjury charges are not what they're really afraid of. On Sunday, Rudy Giuliani told NBC's Chuck Todd that I'm not going to be rushed into having him testify so that he gets trapped into perjury, adding a bit of postmodern wisdom that truth isn't truth. And now Trump himself is offering the same justification for avoiding Mueller's questions. I'm going to read on. I'll skip the Reuters piece. You get it. Let's first dispense with perjury trap idea. A perjury trap occurs when investigators ask a question knowing that the person being interviewed will respond with a lie. When it happens, it's usually because the suspect doesn't realize that the investigators know something critical. Its best known example, Bill Clinton was asked in a deposition about his relationship with Monica Lewinsky. It was a trap because he wasn't aware that the independent counsel, Kenneth Starr, already knew all about their relationship. So Clinton didn't realize that if he denied it, his deceptions were bound to be revealed. So when Giuliani and Trump insist that Mueller is laying a perjury trap, they're admitting that if Mueller asks certain questions, Trump will respond by lying. In ordinary circumstances, there are plenty of reasons that someone suspected of a crime wouldn't want to answer questions from police or prosecutors, even if they're innocent. But if I let you ask me questions, I'll lie, and then you'll indict me for perjury, is not a particularly compelling defense. That brings us to Trump's specific justification. I think this is the part I want to get to, Dom. He and James Comey have differing accounts of their conversations, particularly Comey's description of how he says Trump pressured him to go easy on former National Security Advisor Michael Flynn, which, as a side note, I'd make note of the fact Michael Flynn's own, his
sentencing
scheduled sentencing has been delayed once again. Apparently he's still cooperating. I read on. So if Trump offers his story under oath, Mueller will simply decide that Comey is the one telling the truth because he and Comey are best friends. They aren't. Then indict Trump for perjury. Let's put aside whether any prosecutor would try to indict someone because of he said, disagreement about what happened in a private conversation. The fact is we already know that Mueller is not going to indict Trump. How do we know that? Because Trump's own lawyers, including Giuliani, told us so 3 months ago. And according to that account, which has not been disputed, Mueller has essentially decided to leave Trump's fate up to the political process. Mueller won't indict Trump, but he'll likely lay out whatever evidence he finds of Trump's wrongdoing and that of everyone else he has investigated in some kind of final report. If Congress finds that it warrants impeachment, it'll be up to Congress to take that step. Do you see the point here? They're not worried about the indictment of Trump. They're not worried about Trump giving testimony, and I'll tell you why. The fear is not of legal prosecution. They believe that Mueller believes indictment of a sitting president is not possible. So everything we see going forward will be Trump trying to put the best political foot forward as he tries to survive the political process, which is impeachment. We'll talk with Mark Pocan about that shortly. Come back, phone lines open, 844-967-2789. Devil's Advocates, Real Resistance Radio.
Well, we wish him well. He worked very hard.
It isn't truth. Truth isn't truth.
He's a very dishonest man. I've been saying it for a long time.
But there's been no collusion, no obstruction, and virtually everybody agrees to that.
You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Businesses today thrive and survive with technology. At Five Nines, we provide businesses with the IT tools they need to stay relevant. We offer enterprise-level solutions at competitive prices. I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Let us manage your IT so you can focus on more important things, like running your business. Check us out at fivenines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the Grads of Life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
I'm Andy Buck, Field Representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
In the wake of a disaster, what one thing can you send that will help people the most? A blanket, a tent, a sandbag, a doctor. Actually, if you send a monetary donation, you send all these things. Even a small donation can make a big impact and can quickly become exactly what people affected by disaster need most.
In the wake of a hurricane, your monetary donation can make a huge difference to those in need. To donate, visit supporthurricanerelief.org. That's supporthurricanerelief.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
The Earl Ingram Show. Join me at a new time, weekday mornings, for the Earl Ingram Show, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Real Resistance Radio, Monday through Friday, and as always, Saturdays noon to 3. The Earl Ingram Show, streaming live at realresistanceradio.com. Don't miss it. Voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class, the Earl Ingram Show.
Charged, never convicted. Dom and Croat are the Devil's Advocates.
And welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show, 844-967-2789. Congressman Mark Pocan joining us at the bottom of the hour. But Crudy, please finish this conversation.
Yes, the noose is tightening around Donald Trump's neck. We got Michael Cohen. He's turned himself into the FBI. Apparently, they're coming forth to discuss his plea agreement. We got the Manafort jury ruling at any time on his guilt. And we, of course, have the special counsel seeking to depose Donald Trump. I'm going to end the Paul Waldman piece. Though Trump might well commit perjury if forced to answer Mueller's questions, he won't face prosecution for it. But everyone would see him desperately distract, deflect, and dissemble in answer to questions about Russia and obstruction of justice. And it isn't just the content of specific lies he might tell. Facing an informed interrogator able to ask follow-up questions, he would also almost certainly wind up looking evasive, self-contradictory, disingenuous, in a word, guilty. That's the real danger that Trump faces. Not legal danger, but political danger. An interview with Mueller might not make impeachment and removal from office more likely. He has a firewall of Republican support in Congress to prevent that. But it will almost certainly make a defeat in 2020 more likely if Trump continues to resist. Mueller can just subpoena him, as Starr did Clinton. All indications are that Trump would fight the subpoena all the way to the Supreme Court. We don't know how that case would turn out, but we do know this. The president is afraid to answer questions in front of the world, and he has good reason to be. According to Paul Waldman, if I understand his synopsis, Tom, this is really about winning re-election because he thinks the Republicans will save Trump's ass. He believes that Mueller has already shown his cards. He's not going to indict Trump. So if the political remedy that is impeachment, if that's not going to solve the problem, if Republicans, don't care if history judges them poorly, if they uphold Trump, then it really comes down to the American people. And these days, these Russian nooses all around Donald Trump's neck, the corrupted campaign manager, the fixer. I mean, if he's not guilty, he's certainly guilty of bad associations. Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. We are guilty of having the best friends, the greatest associations, including my Congressman, Mark Pocan, who joins us next on the phone. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Right
jury, hang on, Crudy. Breaking news. Jury announces partial verdict in Manafort trial. Cannot decide on several counts.
Come back with us and Mark Pocan and what that means right after this short break. The consequences of the crime this time. My fortune's faded.
Boy, this looks like very big stuff.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Jesse Pica-Holz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
You are listening to 1510 AM WRRD Waukesha, Milwaukee, and 1580 AM WTTN Columbus, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio Network.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Driving means
freedom,
exploration,
fun,
pride,
flexibility,
travel,
protection,
ability,
friendship,
excitement,
escape,
independence.
Distracted driving means
danger,
recklessness,
irresponsible,
chaos,
police,
devastation,
injury,
tears, death.
Safe driving means staying alert and staying alive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Ignacio, what do you got for us today?
Hey, I quit paying attention for like maybe one day, and all hell breaks loose. That goes to show me I got to pay attention every single day to your radio program, or else who knows what'll happen.
If you don't listen to the Devil's Advocates 3 hours every day, Nacho, you're missing a lot.
You got that right. I just learned that today. I turned it on and I'm listening, and you really just rocked my world today. I was just totally blown away.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
Totally blown away.
For Real Resistance Radio, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. A California company has purchased 28 acres of land near the Foxconn site. Lansing Companies of Sacramento purchased the parcel, which is located in the town of Yorkville. The development firm said they are planning a gas station, restaurants, and possibly a limited service hotel for the site. And the Brewers beat the Reds last night 5-2. They'll play Game 2 of that 3-game series tonight at Miller Park. Outside today, rain likely in Milwaukee, scattered showers in Madison. Temperatures today in the mid-70s, and then clearing skies tonight with lows in the upper 50s in Milwaukee, mid-50s in Madison. Tomorrow, sunshine, highs in the mid-70s. Thursday, sunshine, highs in the upper 70s. You're listening to Real Resistance Radio.
I don't know if you know the Devil's Advocates, but they are kind of a big deal.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. We got a guest. He's kind of a big deal. He is Congressman Mark Pocan. He'll join us in just a few minutes. Dominic, this is quite recent breaking news. I've got the CNN version. This just dropped. Manafort jury has reached verdict on 8 counts, can't reach consensus on 10 counts. The jury in the trial of former Trump campaign chairman Paul Manafort has reached a verdict on 8 counts, but cannot reach consensus on 10 others. They told Judge T.S. Ellis Tuesday afternoon. Earlier, they asked Ellis what would happen if they can't reach a verdict on the count, and Ellis said, "Keep working on it." Here is the quote from earlier today, apparently written directions to the jury. "It is your duty to agree upon a verdict if you can do so." Ellis said he encouraged each juror to make their own decisions on each count. But if some were in the minority on a decision, they could think about what other jurors believe, give deference to each other, and listen to each other's arguments. I hardly ever do that. You're the exclusive judges, he added. Take all the time which you feel is necessary. The jurors asked about the impact of not agreeing on all counts. If we cannot come to consensus for a single count, how can we fill in the verdict sheet? The jury wrote in a note to Ellis. Without jurors present, Ellis also told the courtroom that he will not ask the jury for a partial verdict at this time. My understanding, Dom, he is interviewing each of the jurors independently, right? This judge?
Yes, the judge is going to interview each of the jurors individually. That seems rather strange to me, but this judge has been out there from day one. We do have our guest, Crudy, our pal,
outstanding
Congressman Mark Pocan. Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show.
Hey guys, glad to be here.
Thank you, sir.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, lots of breaking news, sir. Of the Trump...
I know, more than I can keep up with.
Well, here's what we know, Mark. We'll update you along with the audience. We know that the Manafort jury is back, and they've got apparently consensus on 8 of 18 charges. I got to think we got 8 guilties coming down, Mark. Above and beyond that, we've got Michael Cohen, the fixer, has surrendered to the FBI. He's due in court any moment, and they're going to talk about a plea deal. He is also arranged for himself. Mark, we know that the president is being sought for interview by the Mueller investigative team, and ultimately, this could all end in impeachment, and that's where you come in, sir. Got to ask you, Mark, if the evidence continues to come down, if we see the guilty all around the president of the United States, Mark, do you think inevitably we're going to have a midterm election that is about impeaching Donald Trump?
Well, I'll tell you right now, just watching across the country and in Wisconsin, where the motivation is for people to come out and vote, we're already in pretty good shape. And if this continues, and the whole idea that he thinks he can somehow not have to do an interview with Mueller because it's a perjury trap, well, it's perjury only if you lie. Important part. This has been just bizarre, and the truth isn't truth, and everything else. I mean, it is there's a lot going on that's going to be, I think, very good for people who care about our democracy.
Mark, is this a Republican Party that needs to be saved from itself? And do the voters effectively need to flush the toilet on all these guys before we can move our society forward?
Well, there's a major group of Republicans who are basically saying that. They're saying if you live in a competitive congressional district, vote for the Democrat. They're arguing if you live in a state with a Senate race, still vote for the Senate. But at least they're even admitting you've got to do something big because no one is standing up to him. Paul Ryan's, getting his little treats and getting his belly rubbed, every now and then by the president. He won't bark or stand up. You're getting the same problem with Mitch McConnell. So if the president is left to his own ability only, and there's no check and balance whatsoever, this is the problems that we're going to all encounter. So I think, there is a big movement that you're going to have to purge their party in order to be a party again. And, it started with the Tea Party, and, the natural culmination has been putting, a reality show star in as president.
Well, Mark, it's a little off topic, but you referenced the Tea Party. Obviously, Donald Trump and this Mueller stuff, it's very intriguing for talk radio hosts like Dom and I. But there is also a lawsuit in the federal courts. Attorney generals of states, including the state of Wisconsin's own Republican hack Brad Schimmel, they're seeking to basically have Obamacare thrown out, Mark, and this is happening right in the midst of this elective cycle. I want to get your opinion. What happens if suddenly the federal courts find with these state attorney generals and throw Obamacare out? I mean, talking about, a October surprise, sir.
Well, there's already an October surprise that's not even a surprise because we told the Republicans when they passed their tax bill this was going to happen. But, everyone is going to probably have a 8 to 20, 30% increase in health insurance costs come October because of the actions of removing the individual mandate when they did the tax bill last year. So we already know that there's going to be this big issue. But the surprise will be you don't know how much you're going up until then. But come October, thanks to the Republicans, everyone's going to have a huge increase in health care costs. And I subscribe to the political idea that the last person who touches something is responsible for it, and clearly Donald Trump's tiny little hands are all over health care. So, I don't know if I call it a surprise in that we know it's coming, but I think the surprise will be in how much more people are going to have to pay because of what they did for their rich benefactors.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Real Resistance Radio. Congressman Mark Pocan joins us on the phone. A quick update. Crudy, you mentioned it. It is now confirmed. Paul Manafort found guilty on 8 counts in his fraud trial. That's the current update. Mark, I want to get back to this indicting or impeaching issue of a sitting president. I take umbrage with the fact that people think that you cannot indict a sitting president. I don't give a damn what the legal reasons are.
You can.
But
clearly you can.
Do you believe we can do that, Mr. Pocan?
Well, of course you can. You can do that to a sitting president. I have no question on that. I think the issue that we've been having is just if you've got a Republican Party that in Congress won't stand up to him, he's able to still do whatever he's going to do. So
right.
Things like impeachment are just pragmatically off the table. But if he's involved with a crime, he's going to have to pay the price. I think what we have to watch is as various people right now, Paul Manafort, does he get any kind of a pardon. If he does, I think the reaction will be swift and strong. But, we got to watch this president operates on whatever is in the best interest of Donald Trump and the Trump family, not the country. And, the best interest of Donald Trump right now is making sure that he gets as little heat as possible while all his associates are being charged.
Mark, with regards to the ACA, a lot of progressives out there, perhaps you, I'm not sure. Let's find out. What's your thought on some sort of Medicare for all? Can we afford it? Is this something that should be on the ballot this November?
Well, we did a poll in 30 competitive congressional districts, and by we, I mean the Congressional Progressive Caucus. And we asked that question 4 different ways. And no matter how we asked it, interestingly, people in swing districts are in the same place as progressives. Progressives might have a little more intensity, but I think the lowest response we got was like 62%. So this is something that clearly the public is asking for. I just sat down with a group about diabetes literally before this phone call, 15 minutes earlier, and a woman's telling me that she has really good insurance, and her out-of-pocket costs on her insulin is $900 a month for the first 6 months of the year, and then when she reaches her deductible, it's still about $100 a month. But just something as basic as insulin that's been here since early 20s, but the costs have gone up so much, it's absolutely crazy. So we need to do something different when it comes to health care. Most people get it. The special interests in Washington really, really don't want it, and that's the biggest opposition. But at minimum, we've got to fix this death of 1,000 cuts that's happened to the Affordable Care Act, because we're all going to pay more because of it, and more people will lose access to health insurance because they decided a priority was tax breaks for people who belong to Mar-a-Lago.
Well, Mark, we strongly suspect that the Trump priority is to get another Supreme Court justice appointed. And Brett Kavanaugh apparently making the rounds on the Senate side. Susan Collins met with him today and came to the conclusion that he thinks Roe v. Wade is decided law. You talk about death of 1,000 cuts. Mark, what is the probability, because I'm not clear how the Democrats block Kavanaugh, but what is the probability if Kavanaugh is impaneled on the Supreme Court that some case is going to fast track its way through, and states like the state of Wisconsin, which currently has a law in the books that would ban abortion if Roe v. Wade was overturned, what's the likelihood, Mark, that something like that could happen?
Well, I think what will probably happen is you'll have some kind of a state case that comes that involves rescinding some of the rights. I don't think they're going to be able to go for the full Roe versus Wade, but I think they're certainly going to start finding exclusions, and that's going to, again, affect people's own health care decisions that they absolutely should have a right to. So, I think you can fully expect if Kavanaugh gets put on the court, which right now I would probably have to guess, short of seeing some, interesting documents that come out about him, if that's the case, we can fully expect to see that to start to erode for women trying to make their own health care decisions with their health care provider.
Now, Mark, Ron Johnson was in studio Friday with my little buddy Dominic, and Ron Johnson effectively said, the difference between now and the Neil Gorsuch is effectively we could block the Democrats, and the Democrats don't have any ability to block our nominee, and therefore we're going to jam it down your throats. Didn't seem concerned whatsoever about Roe v. Wade. If it happens and it's overturned, it happens, Mark. Here's my question. The Senate is really where the heat is on, and you've got a colleague in Senator Tammy Baldwin who has expressed that she will oppose Kavanaugh. Mark, that's sort of a fine political line to stride as well. What would be your advice to your colleague Tammy Baldwin? Brett Kavanaugh, should she continue to vote down as she has said she will?
Yeah, no, I think she will. I mean, I think, Tammy's always been someone who votes her conscience and votes what she's hearing in the state, and I think she's going to continue to do that. I think there's some, Democrats who are in these tougher districts who sometimes are afraid of their own constituents who make bad decisions on this. But, when you start having Susan Collins and some other folks making a decision like they're going to, it's going to be very difficult to oppose the nomination. And, I just want to make sure that they share all the information about him because I know there's some moves to not get information out. I just want to make sure we know everything, I guess, before that vote happens, in case there's something that would maybe sway some opinions.
You realize Brett Kavanaugh was a counsel on the Ken Starr report, and Brett Kavanaugh thought that Bill Clinton should get no quarter from the Starr investigation, that Kavanaugh was more than willing to ask very explicit sexual questions of the former president while he was the president. I guess here's the question I would ask. Seeing that Brett Kavanaugh may eventually decide whether or not the current president can be subpoenaed and forced to testify, Mark, should we take any solace in his prior positions, or do you think that they're, amenable to whoever appoints him to the court?
Well, I would think that it would be very difficult for Brett Kavanaugh to be aggressively against the president who just nominated him, so I would not expect that, unfortunately. So, even though he seems to be well-versed in talking about sex and questions, and he might be useful to have actually asking the questions, I think we know exactly what would happen in that case.
Now, Tammy Baldwin obviously trying to win re-election in a state that did vote for Donald Trump. Should we fear as progressives, Mark, that the Koch brothers and others are just going to crush Tammy Baldwin with this issue? They're going to put tons of political heat on her through third-party spending. I mean, lots of money has flown into that race already, Mark, but it hasn't specifically been about her opposition to Kavanaugh. I expect that's next. Mark, what do you think?
No, I think you're right. And, I was one night doing Laura Ingraham on Fox, and I was in the green room listening to the head of the American Conservative Union. I know, and a couple other people on the show who were talking about right after the nomination happened. And they were ecstatic because they know there is no motivation in their base right now, but this is the kind of issue that can try to get their voters back out again. So they were very excited about the prospect, and I think, we have to be aware that Tammy's race is going to tighten up. Right now she's, got a decent lead over Leah Vukmir, which I know shocks everyone because she's such a warm, bubbly person. But bottom line is it will tighten up, and this is the sort of issue that will motivate some of their base to come out that might not have been motivated based on, all the talk about porn stars and S-holes and everything else. This will get people to vote that didn't vote otherwise.
Mark, I understand Nancy Pelosi and the Democratic leadership, they're seeking sort of a unifying message for many of these candidates to run for election on this fall. And the corruption of the Republicans, it was an effective message in 2006, worked when Mark Foley and Jack Abramoff were, of course, accused of crimes and, differing things in the House. My question is, Mark, does the same message ring true in 2018? Certainly there is corruption, but, are we immune to this corruption because it's on the front page every day? It's become the normal.
No, I mean, it's absolutely relevant. In fact, the three things that we're essentially running on are dealing with all the corruption and what's going on in Washington, dealing with health care and the cost of prescription drugs, and dealing with good-paying jobs and investing in our infrastructure. I mean, those are the three things that we're going out talking about this November. That's what people talk about when you go around the district. So, I have to admit, for a change, I'm happy with my leadership, because I think 2 years ago I was given a 16-point plan to go campaign on, which, was not very useful. But
only 16, Mark?
I know. That was better than probably the 2 years prior. But, having three issues and having them be good, understandable issues, I think really helps. It's a lot like a governor's race, right? I mean, everyone understands this Foxconn thing is a terrible, terrible deal. $4.5 billion going to a foreign corporation. Because of it, we have the second worst roads in the country. Because of it, we've had to do cuts to education. And, now we've got a chance to talk about those issues. Every time people ride down the road and they hit a pothole, they get, it's a Scott hole, right? And the fact that we now have the superintendent of schools to talk about those cuts to education is going to be really powerful. So, I see a lot of parallels in how we can talk about those issues.
my Congressman Mark Pocan. It's a wet district. You'd have trouble getting around it today, Mark. Thank you so much for coming on the show today. We'll catch up soon, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Take care.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. We'll come right back. Phone lines open to you, 844-967-2789. Call or text. Always welcome here.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Only in the forest can you see this. And this. And this. But nothing beats the moment you see that.
Cool!
That's your child's eyes opening up to a world of possibilities.
I didn't know it could do that!
Because one trip to the forest can spark a world of difference.
There are some moments only the forest can inspire. Find yours at discovertheforest.org. Learn about forests near you and discover cool things to do when you go, like hiking, canoeing, fishing, or camping. Or create your own adventure with family and friends, and you might just see this. Your moment's out there. Find it at discovertheforest.org. That's discovertheforest.org.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, Save the Food, we're helping to stop food waste. Save the Food. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at zeroresmadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Hi, Resistance Radio listeners. This is Kim Schrader, the president of the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association. We are the 4,600 educators who make Milwaukee's public education system possible. MTA members are the guardians of public education because every single day we are fighting to strengthen and protect public schools our students deserve. MTA educators are leading the fight in Milwaukee public schools for smaller class sizes, more recess, physical education, art, and music opportunities for every child in MPS. MTA educators are the champions for healthier school meals, positive discipline practices, equitable schools, and schools that partner with parents. MTA members are the guardians of public education, and we are proud to teach all children, regardless of their zip code. To learn more, follow us on Facebook at the Milwaukee Teachers Education Association.
All workers benefit from unions, as unions create the highest standard in wages, health and welfare, retirement security, and workplace protections. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters General Local 200. Your voice is your strength. The ability to build a stronger and better tomorrow begins today. Teamsters Local 200 represents workers in numerous industries, and our team is ready to sit down with you and your co-workers to build your unified team. Call Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit us on Facebook or www.teamsterslocal200.com.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on Real Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m. And Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Mandatory listening, always streaming at realresistanceradio.com.
Save the $2 on tomorrow's paper. Listen to the Devil's Advocates today.
And welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Real Resistance Radio, streaming live on YouTube and Facebook pages, on Twitter at Devil Radio. And the party line is always open, 844-967-2789. Thank you, Congressman Mark Pocan, for joining us once again. And we have more breaking news. CNN reporting Cohen, the fixer, Trump's personal attorney, admits he violated campaign finance laws in relation to the Stormy Daniels payment at the direction of President Trump.
Oh! So Trump told him to do what he did, and he is guilty of the crime. Trump, at this point, an unindicted co-conspirator. I mean, literally, Trump must also be guilty of the crime if he directed the crime.
If you can believe Cohen, I mean, Michael.
The guy's going to prison over it. I got to believe there's some credibility to the charges at this point. Yes, one does not go plead guilty if one is not guilty, right, Dom? It's not like Cohen couldn't afford capable legal defense. I mean, he didn't hire Giuliani, mind you. But it seems like he's got capable representation, if you will. So this is pretty big news, folks. We are the Devil's Advocate. Sometimes while we're talking about the news is being made, and we're here to tell you about it in real time, and it always feels great when we can break it for you right here on the Devil's Advocates radio show. You are listening to Real Resistance Radio. Manafort, guilty. Cohen, guilty. Marmalade, guilty. Trump, guilty. Come back with us. Join us on the phones. Text us out. Tweet us at Devil Radio. Hell, lots of ways to show your joy and join us on the airwaves. We always appreciate your contribution.
But there's been no collusion, no obstruction, and virtually everybody agrees to that. No collusion, no obstruction, and virtually everybody agrees to that. There has never been so many lies, so much deception. There has never been anything like it.
Watch out for your cornhole, bud.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We've got a patented system. We also do another step that most people don't do. We have a double rotating brush machine that we use when we pre-treat the carpet. So this helps dig up any of that stuff that's deeper in your carpet that the vacuum doesn't get. We're going to provide that intermediary step before we clean with our empowered water.
Call Zero Res today, 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
The Packing House, open every day of the year for dinner, including all holidays. Family owned and operated since 1974. Lunch Monday through Friday. Live music Wednesday through Saturday. Enjoy steaks, ribs, seafood, fish fries, and prime rib. Easy access from anywhere. Across from the airport on Layton. Find us online, packinghousemke.com, or give us a call, 414-483-5054.
Here at Bounce Milwaukee, we not only want families and friends to build connections, we also want to grow those connections in our community. That's why every Wednesday night from 5 to 8 p.m., we host Refuel the Resistance. It's a great chance to have a drink in our arcade bar, try something from our fantastic restaurant, connect with progressive activists, and support local organizations. For more information about Bounce Milwaukee's Refuel the Resistance, visit us at bouncemilwaukee.com or call 414-312-4357.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern. You are listening to Real Resistance Radio, WRRD 1510 AM Waukesha and WTTN 1580 AM Columbus. Always streaming at realresistanceradio.com.
Special report. Manafort verdict, Cohen guilty plea. While President Trump's longtime personal attorney was in court pleading guilty to campaign finance fraud, another former associate of the president, ex-campaign chair Paul Manafort, was learning about the verdict in his financial fraud case.
Guilty on 8 of those counts, 10 of those counts sort of wiped away for now, for lack of a better term, because the judge has declared a mistrial. The jury couldn't come to a consensus on those 10 counts.
That's correspondent Jessica Schneider outside the courthouse in Alexandria, Virginia. In New York, Michael Cohen, who once expressed pride in being the president's fixer, admitted in court to making illegal financial payments on behalf of a candidate for federal office.
Michael Cohen said, in coordination and at the direction of the candidate for federal office, he had made these payments. So he is implicating Donald Trump in this.
Correspondent Kara Scannell. I'm Jan Johnson. District attorneys from 6 California counties say they are ready to bring the man alleged to be the so-called Golden State Killer to trial.
Where to hold the trial was the big question, but DAs from Orange, Ventura, Santa Barbara, Contra Costa, Tulare, and Sacramento counties decided since the first announcement about the arrest of the suspect was in Sacramento, along with other factors, it was decided, says Sacramento County DA Anne Marie Schubert.
It is very fitting that this journey for justice ends in Sacramento.
72-year-old former cop Joseph D'Angelo will be arraigned on Thursday on several charges, including 13 murders, 13 kidnappings for the purpose of robbery, and dozens of rapes and burglaries that spanned an 11-year period in the 1970s and 80s. Jim Roop, Los Angeles.
Everyone on board a private jet is said to be okay after an emergency landing. Fresh from last night's VMA Awards, rapper Post Malone was among the 16 aboard the plane that had to be diverted to an airport in New York after it blew a couple of tires. I'm Jan Johnson.
I'm Andy Buck, field representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
Once again, the American public has some reading to do. A 29-page indictment today. Americans need to take a look at page 6, paragraph 20, and here come those important 8 words: to interfere with the 2016 U.S. presidential election. That is it.
Jim, I'm going to make a confession on behalf of the panel. Dom's not going to read the indictments.
Come on, maybe.
The Devil's Advocates, political commentary from the back of the class.
Bible. On Capitol Hill, some long-awaited meetings today between President Trump's court nominee Brett Kavanaugh and U.S. senators, including moderate Republican Susan Collins, who says they did talk about the landmark abortion decision, Roe v. Wade.
We talked about whether he considered Roe to be settled law. He said that he agreed with what Justice Roberts said at his nomination hearing, in which he said that it was settled law.
The FBI says it's aware that Microsoft has taken down some fake websites that mimic those of American political organizations. Microsoft is blaming Russian hackers. Germany's government says it has a moral obligation to seek justice for victims of the Holocaust following the deportation of a 95-year-old Nazi death camp guard from the U.S. After the arrival of Yaakov Pauli in Germany today, the foreign minister said there is no line under historical responsibility. I'm Jan Johnson.
Five9, your local single-source IT solutions provider. Specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy five9s.com.
Open road, here comes the Heffley family.
You've packed the smartphones, headphones, tablets, water snacks, cooler, sunscreen, bikes, skateboards, games, videos, sunglasses.
There's no room for people in here.
Just don't wimp out on the most important thing.
Deep fried butter on a stick.
No, seatbelts. Whether it's a long haul or short trip,
it's a win-win situation.
Never give up until they buckle up. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I'm Jesse Pica-Holz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
For Real Resistance Radio, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. A man is missing after flash floods hit Dane County last night. About a foot of rain fell in a short amount of time, flooding several major roads and intersections and knocking out power to thousands of people. The western part of Dane County set an all-time state record for the most rain ever in a 24-hour period. Black Earth Creek hit a record-high flood stage with evacuations in Mazomanie, Cross Plains, and Black Earth. And another man is missing after a group of people went swimming in Lake Michigan at Harrington Beach in rough waters yesterday. Outside for today, rain likely in Milwaukee. Scattered showers in Madison will have temperatures in the mid-70s. Tonight, clearing skies, lows in the upper 50s in Milwaukee, mid-50s in Madison. You're listening to Real Resistance Radio.
Due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. We've got Dane County Executive Joe Parisi joining us in the happy hour, giving us an update on the state of emergency, the flooding in my backyard, Dane County. A lot of Dane County underwater. I was looking at some of the aerial video. Joe will give us an update at 5:05. But Dom, I got to tell you, this hour is brought to us by the number 8.
The number 8.
8 is great.
Yes! Why, Crudy? Why is the number of the day today 8?
Well, not only do we have 8 convictions, 8 guilty findings in the Manafort trial, 8 of 18, but also, Dom, the fixer Michael Cohen has pled guilty to 8 counts. Count them, 8. Let's jump in.
8 is great. It makes me shout, hooray, 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 hooray. That's 8. 8 hoorays.
The number of the day.
Let's jump into the Hill piece. Brett Samuels. Michael Cohen, who worked for years, hard to say he only had a cup of coffee with Donald Trump. Michael Cohen, who worked for years as President Trump's personal attorney, and let's not forget, Don, also worked at the RNC.
Until very recently.
Republican National Committee. Michael Cohen, who worked for years as President Trump's personal attorney, pled guilty, I tell you, on Tuesday to charges of bank fraud, tax fraud, and campaign finance law violations, delivering a potentially significant legal blow to the president. Cohen pled guilty to 8 counts total, including 5 counts of tax evasion, 1 count of making a false statement to a financial institution, according to multiple reports. He also pleaded guilty to 1 count of making an excessive campaign contribution on October 27, 2016, which is the same day Cohen finalized the payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels. Stormy, as part of a non-disclosure agreement over an affair Daniels alleges she had with Trump. The $130,000 payment to Daniels, whose real name is Stephanie Clifford, was completed just weeks before the election. She is now suing Cohen and the president for defamation and to void the non-disclosure agreement. Trump initially denied knowing anything about the payment to Daniels, but later acknowledged that he reimbursed Cohen for the expense, which he insisted had nothing to do with the campaign. Cohen's deal does not, I repeat, does not include an agreement to cooperate with prosecutors in the Southern District of New York, where he was charged. However, it does not explicitly rule out the possibility of cooperating with special counsel Robert Mueller in the federal investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election, the New York Times reported. Cohen's plea is a remarkable reversal for a man who was once one of Trump's closest confidants and who said last September he'd take a bullet for the president. How about 8 bullets, Dom?
8. Again, the number of the day.
He spent years working for the Trump organization and until recently served as deputy finance chairman of the Republican National Committee. Let's not forget that. He's one of yours, Republicans. Cohen has been under legal scrutiny since early April when federal agents raided his office, home, and hotel room and seized thousands of documents and electronic files as Cohen entered his guilty plea. Former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort was found guilty on 8 counts. Count them, Dom, 8 counts in a trial in Virginia.
8 is great.
The judge in the case declared a mistrial on another 10 counts. Trump is scheduled to hold a campaign-style rally in West Virginia. I'd love if it was at 8, Dom, but it's at 7 p.m. That's Eastern, I suspect.
The Hill also reporting, as you mentioned, Crudy, the 8 convictions for Paul Manafort. Guilty on 5 charges of filing false income tax returns, 1 count of failing to report foreign bank accounts, and 2 counts of bank fraud. 8.
The number of the day. And what about this Manafort? What were the convictions on? Do we have that information yet? I've got another piece from the Hill, but I'm wondering if you've seen the answers.
Yeah, man, I just said it. I'll say it again. 8 total, 5 charges of filing.
Manafort. Now we're talking
Manafort. I know. I mean, all these Trump advisors, pleading guilty, getting convicted, lots of legalese happening. It's tough to keep it all straight. Paul Manafort faced a total of 18 counts. He is guilty of 8 of them, and the jury is deadlocked on the remaining 10 charges. A mistrial called on the last 10 counts because of the jury's failure to reach a consensus. Of the 8 convictions, Crudy, 5 charges, count them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, of filing false income tax returns, 1 count of failing to report foreign bank accounts, and 2 counts of bank fraud.
Manafort looked stunned after the verdict was read.
Shocking.
Stunned, I tell you. And Judge T.S. Ellis III adjourned the proceedings. He winked at his wife. Probably the last wink he gets for a while. He winked at his wife, Kathleen Manafort, as he was escorted out of the room. Kathleen Manafort, who sat behind her husband in the first row behind the defense table each day, was stone-faced as the verdict was read. The decision is a victory for special counsel Robert Mueller's team of prosecutors, which faced its first test in court on the Manafort case, Russia in the 2016 election. However, we're not parts of the trial against Manafort. The first trial, he's got another trial coming.
You got that to look forward to.
It was also part of a difficult day for President Trump, who saw his former campaign chairman convicted on the same day that his former personal lawyer and fixer, Michael Cohen,
the best people,
pled guilty in it. He's got nothing but the best people, Dom.
All the best.
Pled guilty in a New York courtroom to 8 counts related to charges of tax evasion, false statements to his financial institution, and illegal campaign contributions.
They are doing a breaking news report on Paul Manafort's conviction on guilty of 8 of 18 charges. Let's get to it.
Thank the jury for their very long and hard-fought deliberations. He is evaluating all of his options at this point. Thank you, everyone.
No questions.
All right, not answering questions. That's
taken. Thank you, Brian. No questions taken from the Manafort defense team. We'll see what happens. Again, guilty of 8 of 18 counts.
Now, more from this piece at the Hill, Dom. Ellis declared a mistrial on 10 counts, 3 counts of failing to report foreign bank accounts, 5 counts of bank fraud conspiracy, and 2 counts of bank fraud. He being the judge, asked each of the jurors individually if any of them thought there was any possibility or probability that they could reach an agreement on any of the 10 counts if they continued their deliberations facing the judge. Each juror said no. Ellis called Manafort to the podium and told him he was ordering a pre-sentencing report to be done, which he will use to determine his sentence at a later day. He told Manafort a probation officer would be asking him to provide information about his family history, education, work experience, criminal history, and any health problems. The verdict came after a jury earlier on Monday sent a note to Ellis asking what would happen if it could not reach a verdict on a single count. Well, Dom, my understanding, Manafort was already being held in lieu of bail for witness tampering. Is there more breaking news? What's going on, my buddy?
It looks like the prosecutors are coming to the podium.
My name is Robert Kazami. I'm the Deputy United States Attorney for the Southern District of New York and the Attorney for the United States in this matter. With me is Bill Sweeney, Assistant Director in charge of the New York Field Office of the FBI, and James Robnett, who is the Supervisory Agent in charge of the New York Office of the IRS. Also with me are the prosecutors from the United States Attorney's Office in the Southern District of New York who prosecuted the Cohen matter. I'm going to have a brief statement and will not be taking any questions. Today, as you heard, Michael Cohen pled guilty to 8 felony charges. 5 of those dealt with tax evasion for the years 2012 through 2016, in which he failed to report approximately $4.1 million in reported income. Approximately 2.5 of that money was from interest payments from a personal loan that he failed to report. Approximately $1.3 million of that money was from the operation of his taxi medallion business. Approximately $100,000 of that money was from brokerage commissions, and over $200,000 was from consulting fees. That's over $4.3 million over a 5-year period, which translates into a loss to the United States Treasury of approximately $1.3 million. In addition, in count 6, Mr. Cohen pled guilty to making false statements to a financial institution in connection with an application for a home equity line of credit. In that application, he failed to disclose more than $14 million in debt that he had, and as a result of that concealment, he obtained that $500,000 line of credit, which he would not have been entitled to had he been candid and honest. In addition, Mr. Cohen pled guilty to 2 campaign finance charges, one for causing an unlawful corporate contribution, and a second one for personally making an excessive personal contribution, both for the purpose of influencing the 2016 election. In addition, what he did was he worked to pay money to silence 2 women who had information that he believed would be detrimental to the 2016 campaign and to the candidate and the campaign. In addition, Mr. Cohen sought reimbursement for that money by submitting invoices to the candidate's company, which were untrue and false. They indicated that the reimbursement was for services rendered for the year 2017, when in fact those invoices were a sham. He provided no legal services for the year 2017, and it was simply a means to obtain reimbursement for the unlawful campaign contribution. A couple of points I'd like to make. First, these are very serious charges and reflect a pattern of lies and dishonesty over an extended period of time. They are significant in their own rights. They are particularly significant when done by a lawyer who, through training and tradition, understands what it means to be a lawyer, to engage in honest and fair dealing and adherence to the law. Mr. Cohen disregarded that training, disregarded that tradition, and decided that he was above the law, and for that he was going to pay a very, very serious price. With respect to the campaign finance violations, the campaign finance laws are designed to prevent the use of illegal money in elections and to maintain the integrity of those elections. Mr. Cohen made guilty pleas for those campaign violations, and those are core violations. And what he did was these pleas remind us that it is illegal for corporations to make contributions to candidates, and it is illegal to make contributions in excess of the amount that Congress set for individuals. That is a strong message today, and we will not fear of prosecuting additional campaign finance cases. Lastly, and perhaps most importantly, this case is unique in many ways. Just witness the gathering of all of you here today. And in other ways, it's unique as well. But in the really important ways, this case is not unlike many cases that my office, the United States Attorney's Office, brings, that the entire Department of Justice brings, and that the law enforcement agencies do as well, including the FBI and the IRS. This case has more in common with all those cases because they all share the same message. And that message is that the rule of law applies, and that for law enforcement, all of whom are gathered here, it is our commitment that we will pursue and vindicate those who choose to break the law, and vindicate the majority of people who live law-abiding lives, who follow honest and fair dealing, and live lives of lawful behavior. The message is that we are here, prosecutors are here, law enforcement is here, the Department of Justice is here, the law enforcement agencies here. We are a nation of laws, and the essence of this case is justice, and that is an equal playing field for all persons in the eyes of the law, and that is a lesson that Mr. Cohen learned today, and it is a very harsh one for him. Thank you very much.
Who is the candidate you're talking about?
Who is the candidate you're talking about? It's Donald Trump, of course. We are the devil's advocates. We will take a little break.
Cohen apparently in the plea deal says he acted, quote, in coordination and at the direction of a candidate for federal office, unquote.
I bet it was Trump. What do you think? You think it was Trump?
I think so. I think it was.
Come back with us. The greatest radio show ever, 8 days a week.
The number of the day, I can hardly wait. The number of the day is 8.
I would like to thank you, President Trump. I also want to express my thanks to Governor Walker.
Foxconn CEO Terry Goh is thankful to the Republicans who delivered his $4.5 billion in corporate welfare.
Thank you to Foxconn.
Scott Walker thanks the foreign corporation who received the largest corporate welfare subsidy in history.
Thank you, Mr. President.
What about thanking the hardworking Wisconsin taxpayers you saddled with a generation of debt for a project that may never be paid back?
People should be rushing to me and patting my back and say, hey, thank you, Mr. Foxconn.
Call Governor Scott Walker at 608-266-1212 and tell him no thank you to corporate welfare, no thank you to environmental rollbacks, no thank you to a project that may never be paid back, no thank you to Foxconn. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on Real Resistance Radio. Tune in Saturdays for Busted Pencils, fully leaded education talk with Dr. Tim Slecker, 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class. Earl Ingram's Saturday show is live from 12 to 3 p.m. From 3 to 4, it's State Rep Joe Costa Zamaripa hosting The Joe Costa Show, followed by The Dawn of the Resistance with Maggie Dawn, 4 to 6. Mandatory listening, always streaming at realresistanceradio.com. Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison, resisting dirty carpets and harsh chemicals. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We're not using any soaps. We're not using any chemicals. We cost about the same as the other guys. You look at it and you go, where's the downside? You got a completely green clean. It's awesome. We guarantee it. There's no downside.
There's no downside. Use Zero Res. Call Zero Res today. 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
The Devil's Advocates, because it's always 420 somewhere.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Short segment, so let's get some callers in. Matt from Hartford, you are up. Thank you for calling. What do you got for us today?
I just wanted to kind of draw the focus in on these. Not really two separate charges. Basically, what we've had today is 16 guilty pleas or counts on the inner circle of Trump's campaign. So it all just kind of goes back to the campaign itself, you know. And furthermore, people were a lot worried that Cohen, there was no cooperation. Sounds like they got everything they need. I mean, it sounds like all they're doing is linking it to stuff that they've already known. So I would prepare for that rage tweet come either tonight or tomorrow morning.
I already checked the Twitter account. I didn't see @RealDonaldJTrump tweeting yet.
Not yet. You know what's coming.
But
thanks, Matt.
He's got a big rally in West Virginia tonight. Live mic, no script on. What could possibly go wrong?
Great point, Matt. 16 counts, 16 convictions of 2 of Donald Trump's inner circle, or, you know, as he would put it, coffee boys.
Well, I was thinking hashtag witch hunt. It's a witch hunt.
Yeah, 16 convictions. It's a witch hunt.
I prefer to think of it more as 8 and 8. 88 is great. Come back with us. We're great. It's great news when Donald Trump's inner circle's going to prison for a long time. Join us on the phones. 844-967-2789.
Eight is great.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
They'll challenge your authority because that's what kids do. But this car is your territory. And in here, your word is law. So when you say you won't move until everyone's buckled up, you won't budge an inch until you hear that click. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. For more information, visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup.
5 your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy 59s.com.
Well, back in my day, we didn't build walls, we tore them down. That's why I listen to Real Resistance Radio. What's a firewall?
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The Forum, hosted by Sherwin Hughes, exclusively on Real Resistance Radio. Call in live at 844-967-2789 and give your thoughts, feelings, and opinions on local and national topics. Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. until 11 a.m. It will not be what you expect to hear, but we will definitely give you what you need to know. That's The Forum, hosted by Sherwin Hughes on Real Resistance Radio. Always streaming live on realresistanceradio.com.
For Real Resistance Radio, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. The University of Wisconsin System's proposed $6.3 billion operating budget for the next 2 fiscal years has priorities right out of the Republican playbook. For years, conservative lawmakers have been pushing for an economic, job-focused, student success accountability agenda for the UW system in exchange for taxpayer dollars. According to a story in the Journal Sentinel, key Republican catchphrases appear throughout the proposed budget, such as workforce development, student success, and operational efficiencies. Outside today, rain likely for Milwaukee, scattered showers for Madison, temperatures in the mid-70s. Tonight, clearing skies, lows in the upper 50s in Milwaukee, mid-50s in Madison. You're listening to Real Resistance Radio.
I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for those meddling devil's advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. Dominic, I think the number 8 is great. It makes me want to celebrate the guilty pleas and the guilty findings against the inner circle. I mean, Donald Trump, you could not get any closer to the president short of, what, Jared or
Ivanka.
Don Jr. going? Maybe Ivanka, yeah.
That's the closest you get to Trump.
So Michael Cohen, the fixer, has pled guilty to 8 charges. Paul Manafort has been found guilty on 8 charges. These things happened, literally within minutes of each other. And there's a new article, Dom, thehill.com. I think we need to put the emphasis especially on the Cohen and the payoff of, count 'em, multiple 2 or more porn stars at the direction of the federal candidate who is undeniably Donald J. Trump. Or as the Hill reports, Cohen says he broke campaign finance law at direction of candidate Trump. I read, Michael Cohen, President Trump's longtime personal attorney, said Tuesday he violated campaign finance laws in coordination and at the direction of a candidate for federal office in indirect reference to the president. Cohen pleaded guilty to bank fraud, tax fraud, and campaign finance law violations in the Southern District of New York. Now, here's the point I would point out. Trump could dismiss, oh, that was the taxi cab stuff, or Michael, he's done some immoral things.
He's his own businessman. I can't control everything Michael does. Fine man, Michael, though.
But, of course, he's doing so in coordination and at the direction, talking about the payoff of porn stars, of the president. I read on. While reviewing the charges, Cohen told the judge he made a $130,000 payment at the direction of the candidate for federal office to keep someone quiet and was later repaid by that same candidate.
What? He was repaid? I didn't think that happened.
Well, that's been a moving target as well, Don, but I would think that this is probably the real story.
The real?
At no point did Cohen refer to Trump by name, but the account matches Cohen's payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels. In October of 2016, Cohen additionally told the judge he made a contribution of $150,000 at the direction of the candidate, which aligns with his payments to secure the rights to former Playboy model Karen McDougal's account of an alleged affair with Trump. Do we still have to say alleged when people are guilty of campaign finance violations for covering up the alleged affair? Is it still alleged at this point? I read on. Cohen admits to working at the direction of the candidate Trump and National Enquirer to silence Karen McDougal. He also admits to Stormy Daniels' payment that he made with and at the direction of the same candidate. In a statement after Cohen's court appearance, Deputy U.S. Attorney Robert Kuzmi alleged that the president's former lawyer worked to pay money to silence two women who had information that Cohen believed would be detrimental to the 2016 campaign and to the candidate, the unknown candidate. Both payments were intended to influence the 2016 election, prosecutors say. Cohen later submitted falsified invoices to the candidate's company to be reimbursed for the payments.
For services rendered, some stuff I did for you once. Just give me some money.
You remember, in earlier reporting, Cohen was bemoaning the fact that Trump had not yet paid him back. They did not provide specifics, but appeared to be referring to the Trump organization. Kuzmi said that Cohen's crimes demonstrated a pattern of lies and dishonesty over an extended period of time.
Shocking.
They are significant in their own right. They are particularly significant when done by a lawyer. Are we clear that he's ever passed the bar? Anyways, he added that Cohen decided he was above the law, and for that, he is going to pay a very, very serious price. Prosecutors did not take questions, and Cohen did not stop to speak with reporters as he exited the courthouse. At least he gets to go home tonight. That's more than you can say for Manafort. He also pled guilty to one count of making an excessive campaign contribution, October 27th of 2016, which is the same date he finalized the payment to Daniels as part of the non-disclosure agreement over an alleged affair with Trump. The $130,000 payments to Daniels, whose real name is Stephanie Clifford, was completed just weeks before the 2016 election. And as we talked about before, Dom, she's now suing Cohen and the president for defamation and to void the non-disclosure agreement about the affair. Well, I think she might prevail in the courts. What do you think, Dom?
Hey, the trend is not going well for the Trump allies. Wrapping it up, Crudy, Trump initially denied knowing anything about the payment to Daniels, but later acknowledged he reimbursed Cohen for the expense, which he insisted had nothing to do with the campaign. Cohen is due in court in December for sentencing. President was en route to a campaign rally in West Virginia. He has now landed, and we'll see if the president has anything to say today. If he does, is he going live right now? What's happening?
Wheels down, Tom? Wheels down? Is he going to speak from the tarmac?
He's talking. Let's get to the president.
I feel very sad about that. It doesn't involve me, but I still feel, it's a very sad thing that happened. This has nothing to do with Russian collusion. This started as Russian collusion. This has absolutely nothing to do. This is a witch hunt, and it's a disgrace. This has nothing to do what they started out, looking for Russians involved in our campaign. There were none. I feel very badly for Paul Manafort. Again, he worked for Bob Dole, he worked for Ronald Reagan, he worked for many, many people. And this is the way it ends up. And it was not the original mission, believe me. It was something very much different. So, had nothing to do with Russian collusion. We continue the witch hunt. Thank you very much.
Mr. President, what about Michael Cohen?
All right.
What about Michael Cohen?
Yeah, talking about Manafort, but nothing to say about Cohen. What about Cohen? Did you not get the news? Because that dropped about the same time, President Trump.
Well, here's the problem. You can say Manafort, very good man, worked for, Bob Dole and Reagan and other Republican luminaries. But you cannot say the same of Michael Cohen. He effectively just worked for you and maybe Hannity. And quite frankly, of course, the other distinction to be made, Trump made a valid point. The current guilty findings of the jury in the Manafort trial were not specifically related to Russian collusion. But, of course, then we know that the guilty pleadings of the fixer Michael Cohen were specifically related to the direction given by the federal candidate, otherwise known as Donald J. Trump.
So, very specifically has something to do with the campaign and what? Not wanting this news to get out, trying to influence the outcome of the election by buying the silence of a porn star and a Playboy bunny, which I guess you can't do. And, of course, he lies about it, talking about President Trump. And when asked today, only refers to Manafort, does not talk about his personal attorney.
Oh, I'm sorry, I can't hear the next
it's
question.
Really loud out here. Yeah, I gotta go. I got a fundraiser.
I gotta go now.
I gotta go.
A lot of hairspring to do between now and the big event in West Virginia. Rocky Top, here we go, right?
Oh, come on.
I guess Rocky Top's technically Tennessee. West Virginia, there's got to be some cracker song about West Virginia they'll play Trump in with tonight.
Well, we'll see if Brian can come up with something for the next segment. Where's our people at? Are you going to celebrate? I want to hear what you have to say. Republicans, this has something to do with the Republican presidential campaign. What say you? 844-967-2789. Cohen, admit guilt. Campaign finance violations. That seems
at the direction
of
the
candidate.
Then the candidate.
Now, I can already see Giuliani. Well, he didn't say President Trump. It was a federal candidate. So it's not nothing. And you heard Trump today, just now. It's got nothing to do with me. Nothing to do with me. With regards to Manafort. And, of course, they had no comments on Cohen. How do you keep them all straight? I don't know. We're going to have to get a flow chart. 844-967-2789. I'd like to hear from our audience today. What do you think? Republicans, I know there's some Republicans out there. Are you concerned? Does this mean that perhaps your president has been lying to you? Or is it just Cohen? Cohen must be the rat.
Dominic, it means all our deplorable friends, they're all out there hiding from us today.
Come on.
They're a little snowflakey.
No,
they're a little scared.
Not. No, they're not. They're strong patriots. Stand up for your president. Please call us. Let me know what you think. 844-967-2789. Gary, I'm talking to you. Who are some of the other conservatives out there?
What about Nick from Madison?
From Madison. Where are you at, man? How about Keith? Where's our best buddy, Keith?
Big Ugly. 844-967-2789. Let's let the conservatives, let's allow them to gather strength. They can give us a call, and we will take your calls. And if you give unsatisfactory answers, we will mock you publicly.
Yes.
Much like we're mocking the President of the United States. My favorite number right this moment, my lucky number, 8. Come back with us. Your calls welcome here, especially if you're a deplorable. Defend your president. Now is the time. If not now, when will you come to the service of your non-indicted co-conspirator president, Donald Trump? I mean, really, the guy was literally tied in with criminal activity today, the sitting president of the United States, and the other guy pled guilty. The other guy's going to prison for it. Trump, You know, you can say what you want on the tarmac, but Michael Cohen, that question eventually, it's one you're going to have to answer for. We are the Devil's Advocates making you deplorables answer to us. Let's see. You got any balls, deplorables? Come back with us.
Gee.
Send lawyers, guns, and money.
Ow! Eight is great.
We have found the witch. May we burn, huh?
But there's been no collusion, no obstruction, and virtually everybody agrees to that.
Burn already!
Here in the Badger State, we have our own expressions. When we're looking to go on vacation, we state, well, let's go up north. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters Local 200. Here in the Badger State, we also have another expression, union yes. The strength of the labor movement depends on elected officials here in Wisconsin and Washington, D.C. that support the values of working families that raise the standards for all. Give us a call at Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit our website at www.teamsterslocal200.com or on Facebook at Teamsters Local 200. Be engaged.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
The Packing House Restaurant, located at 900 East Layton Avenue, offers fine dining and casual supper club style. Family owned and operated for over 40 years, the Packing House features great steaks, prime rib, and the best fish fry around. Join us for live music on Wednesday through Saturday evenings. The Packing House Restaurant, open for lunch, Monday through Friday, and dinner nightly. Call us at 414-483-5054 or visit us online at packinghousemke.com.
Every hiring manager knows that a company is only as good as the people it's made from. So where do you find the best people? That may surprise you.
Meet the grads of life. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
This is talent worth knowing about.
Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
You're not wired to have a response to this sound. But when we introduce a new stimulus, save the food. We're helping to stop food waste. Save the food. For tips and recipes, visit savethefood.com. Brought to you by NRDC and the Ad Council.
180 over 111, and I had a stroke. I couldn't speak or walk.
This is high blood pressure. Get back on your plan. Go to loweryourhbp.org. Brought to you by the American Stroke Association, American Medical Association, and the Ad Council.
We got Mark Pocan live via phone. Mark, does Paul Ryan hate poor people?
Oh, he hates poor people and middle-class people. I mean, I think when he was probably 5 years old playing with Play-Doh, trying to, adjust the taxes on Play-Doh. And so, to be fair, I think he's doing what he always said he was going to do. It's just no one actually believed he was either that cruel, evil, or dumb to do it.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 a.m., Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocates, because freedom.
for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Real Resistance Radio, streaming live on the YouTube and Facebook pages. We are on Twitter at Devil Radio, and always on the phones at 844-967-2789. Let's get to some callers. Mark from the SAC, you are up. Where's our Republican friends, Mark? They seem to be hiding today.
They're hiding. They're quivering little piles of goo.
I wonder where our colleagues from Righty Whitey Trump-loving talk radio are on this issue today. No collusion, witch hunt.
Well, that's what they'll be saying. They'll be saying, "See, this is just a minor little thing, and they're going to use this to go after the president, and there's just really nothing to see here. You know, if it was Bill and Hillary, or if it was Barack Obama, we'd just be ignoring the whole thing." And of course, that's the opposite of what happened, because how many hours did Hillary sit in front of Trey Gowdy and company, testifying about Benghazi?
Perjury trap, Mark.
If you don't like, the good thing about the nice thing about telling the truth is then you don't need to remember what lie you told.
Yeah, but if you tell the truth about the thing you did wrong, well, then you're guilty of the thing you did wrong. So that's the trap, right?
But if you're actually an honest person, you're not going to do the wrong thing in the first place. I mean,
speak for yourself, Mark.
Well, I mean, I'm no innocent, but I mean, you have to have some ethics. When you're, if you're working on the public, for the public, you have to be completely ethical when you're doing that. I mean that.
Well, you'd like to think so. If someone's actually going to represent the people and actually work for the people instead of working for themselves. But Mark, you've already heard, if you were listening in the last segment, President Trump on the tarmac saying, it's a terrible thing, it's disgraceful, it's got nothing to do with Russia, it's a witch hunt. So now you already have, the Trumpkins are going to be saying, well, this has nothing to do with Russian collusion, it was just just a thing, not a big deal. Do you think it's going to catch on? You think that the world will buy it?
Well, for the Trump supporters, of course they'll buy it. Donald Trump had it right when he said he could murder somebody and get away with it. That I think he could go on live television and sacrifice a child to Moloch and he would get away with it. It just doesn't make any. That there's hopefully they'll reach a breaking point here, but I don't know what it is yet.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Charges against Trump Jr. That'll be the breaking point.
For whom? I mean, for the supporters or for Donald?
Well, I think it will be intellectually. It will be for Donald Trump. I mean, just think, how is this man able to compartmentalize? How is he able to go about his life when his lawyer, who made tapes, has now pled guilty and said he was acting at the direction of the president, who at this point is an unindicted co-conspirator of a man who has pled guilty to specific crimes, and the guy that was in the Trump Tower meeting has now been convicted of 8 felony counts. Well, one must think we're going to get to the bottom of the Trump Tower meeting. Well, if Don Jr. is not going to rat him out and Jarrett's not going to rat him out, Paul Manafort just might. If guilty on 8 of 18 charges, I mean, he was facing 305 years in prison. If I'm doing simple math, let's just say he's subject to 85 more years in prison. I mean, he's never getting out of prison.
And he has another trial yet to come.
Yes, he does. Thank you for the call, Mark. I got a quick one for the audience. It's all your fault, Trump screamed at Giuliani and blamed him for putting Don Jr. in legal jeopardy. Twisted logic, but stick with me.
All right.
A new report from Vanity Fair's Gabriel Sherman claims that President Donald Trump is now blaming attorney Rudy Giuliani for supposedly putting his own son in legal jeopardy. According to Sherman's sources, Trump blames Giuliani for not taking up the job of attorney general. Well, you didn't hire him, which eventually went to Jeff Sessions. Because Giuliani wouldn't have recused himself, as Sessions did, the president logic goes, Giuliani could have kept the president safe had he agreed to become the AG. A person described by Sherman as close to the Trump family claims the president is particularly furious with Giuliani because it appears that special counsel Robert Mueller's probe appears to be turning its attention to Donald Trump Jr., who set up the infamous Trump Tower meeting with Russian government officials to get dirt on then-rival Hillary Clinton. A quote, Dom, a lot of what Trump is doing is based on the fact that Mueller is going after Don Jr., the source said. They're squeezing Don Jr. right now. They're squeezing him like a pimple, Dom. Trump Jr.'s attorney declined to comment on being characterized as a pimple. Actually, he declined to comment to Sherman about whether Mueller is squeezing his client. Adding to the tension in the White House, according to Sherman's sources, is the fact that Trump is worried that the White House counsel, and we almost forget the White House counsel, Don McGahn, 30 hours of testimony he's given to the Trump team, and it might be secretly rattling him, according to this Raw Story piece. Over the weekend, Jared Kushner described Trump's mood. I can't say it. I cannot say the word on the FCC regulated airways, but it's something to the effect of rip crap, according to one of the advisors. Total meltdown was how another advisor put it. He's extremely frustrated, a Republican close to the White House said.
I got about 90 seconds here. Philip from Waukesha, you're up. You'll get the last word this hour. What do you got for us?
Okay, I'll try to be quick here. This is the nicest day that I've had since Trump has been elected. It was a surprise. I was in a customer's home, saw it on the news, and then when I heard it, it was like, I can't believe this, and especially to get both of them on the same day. I was just surprised that they only got 8 counts on Manafort. I thought they were going to get 12 or 13 at least. And what I can say is this is the end of the beginning. Now we're starting the second phase. Mueller, this is how they go after mafia dons. You go after the underlings, and you keep getting. You like when you watch that movie, that Titanic, and the water was coming in, and all the rats were running out. That's where we're at now. They're going to start running out. His sons, they're going to go after his kids. They're going to go after everybody. And Trump is the top of the pimple. And at the end, he's going to finally pop.
Thank you for the call, Philip.
Heads, but he's an orange head, if you will. Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates.
Celebrate with us today, baby.
We got Dane County Executive Joe Parisi, my backyard in a state of emergency. A lot of flooding in Dane County, fatal flooding overnight. We'll get an update from the Dane County Executive. Stick around. More Devil's Advocates right here on Real Resistance Radio.
Keep America great! Exclamation point.
Get back, witch! 8 is great.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values, building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on, and he gets off and he makes a speech. But, he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy. Okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org. You are listening to Real Resistance Radio, WRRD 1510 AM Waukesha and WTTN 1580 AM Columbus. Always streaming at realresistanceradio.com.
Special report, Manafort verdict, Cohen guilty plea. A verdict has been reached in the financial fraud trial of former Trump campaign official Paul Manafort. The jury found Manafort guilty of 8 charges, but could not reach an agreement on 10 other counts. President Trump in Charleston, West Virginia, says Manafort is a good man.
He was with Ronald Reagan. He was with a lot of different people over the years, and I feel very sad about that. It doesn't involve me, but I still feel, it's a very sad thing that happens. It has nothing to do with Russian collusion.
The president's former personal lawyer, Michael Cohen, has pleaded guilty to 8 charges today. Correspondent Kara Scannell.
As part of this agreement, he's agreed to a prison term, although the judge is not bound by this, but of between just under 4 years and 5 years in prison. But the judge will sentence him later at a future date.
Cohen will also pay a substantial monetary fine. I'm Ann Cates. Chris Watts, the Colorado man accused of killing his pregnant wife and 2 young daughters, has appeared in court. Correspondent Jim Roop.
Watts says he and his wife Shanann were having an emotional discussion about separating when he went downstairs in their Frederick, Colorado home about 30 miles north of Denver for just a moment. He went back upstairs and told investigators he saw on a baby monitor screen his wife actively strangling one of their daughters, the other already appearing to be dead, lying in her bed. Watts says he went into a rage and strangled his wife and then hid the bodies on the property of his former employer.
A suspect is being held on a federal immigration detainer in the death of a college student who went missing last month in Iowa. Investigators say a body believed to be that of 20-year-old Molly Tibbetts was found in a rural area today with an autopsy scheduled for tomorrow. She was last seen July 18th, jogging through the streets of Brooklyn, Iowa. On Wall Street, the Dow Jones Industrial Average gained 64 points, the Nasdaq up 38. I'm Ann Cates.
I'm Andy Buck, field representative with Painters and Allied Trades of Wisconsin. It's an issue that brings constant challenges for building contractors. How to find qualified painters, glazers, and drywall finishers. IUPAT knows what you want. A professional job performed by skilled workers who care about safety, training, and finishing strong. Workers who are reliable and ready on demand. Let IUPAT provide the people power that you need. You'll feel confident the job is finished right. Connect at IUPATDC7.com and finish strong.
The Earl Ingram Show. Join me at a new time, weekday mornings, for the Earl Ingram Show, 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. on Real Resistance Radio, Monday through Friday, and as always, Saturdays noon to 3. The Earl Ingram Show, streaming live at realresistanceradio.com. Don't miss it. Voice of the voiceless, champion of the working class, the Earl Ingram Show.
Free. The Food and Drug Administration is extending expiration dates for certain EpiPens.
They're trying to combat a shortage of the medication and will allow for a 4-month extension on the expiration date. It applies to the 0.3 milligram dose of EpiPen and the authorized generic, but not the kids' version, EpiPen Junior. The pens are a lifesaver for some, delivering a quick shot of epinephrine needed after an allergic reaction. The shortage has been going on since May due to supply and delivery issues. Prices for the drug have skyrocketed in recent years. A 2-pen pack can be up to $400. I'm Carrie Shoemaker.
Mattress makers are consolidating as digital upstarts threaten to upend their business. The company behind Serta, Beauty Rest, and Tomorrow Mattresses has announced today it's merging with online startup Tuft & Needle. Financial terms of the deal were not disclosed. I'm Ann Cates.
I'm Jesse Pikeholz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
It's important to buckle up your kids.
I know.
Sometimes car seats can be complicated.
I know.
And if your child's in the wrong seat and you get into a crash,
I know.
it could lead to a serious injury.
I know.
So you're 100% sure you have the right car seat for your child's age and size?
I don't know.
Don't think you know. Know you know. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Make sure you have the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Donna from Louisiana. The storm just hit, and we went from donating to the food bank to needing it.
Hunger is a story we can end. End it at feedingamerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
For Real Resistance Radio, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. More than a dozen railroad cars derailed in Wauwatosa last night, damaging the Penzies Spices building. No injuries were reported. The derailment happened about 10 o'clock last night. The train was carrying non-hazardous materials, and the cause is still under investigation. And Americans for Prosperity Wisconsin, one of many groups funded by energy industrialists, the Koch brothers, is spending $1.8 million on a new ad campaign for Scott Walker. Outside today, rain likely in Milwaukee, scattered showers in Madison, highs in the mid-70s. Tonight, clearing skies, lows in the upper 50s in Milwaukee, mid-50s for Madison. Tomorrow, sunshine, highs in the mid-70s. Thursday, sunshine, highs in the upper 70s. You're listening to Real Resistance Radio.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves' corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening. Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we are sliding into the 5 o'clock happy hour. And I got to admit, I'm happy it's no longer raining here in Dane County. We also welcome back a fine guest. He is the Dane County Executive, Joe Parisi. Joe, welcome back. I wish it was under differing circumstances, sir.
Yeah, me too, but it's good to talk to you.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today, Joe. Joe, we had some deadly flooding happening in Dane County last night. My understanding, something approaching 13 inches of rain fell on the west side of Madison and near Middleton, where I live. Joe, aerial reconnaissance done this afternoon. What can you tell us, sir? What's it look like out there?
Well, particularly out in that region and further west, they received record rainfall. And, when you get out toward Mazomanie and Belleville, because of the way the water flows and the watershed flows there, it's actually a little worse out there right now. Belleville, the Sugar River in Belleville is rising. There's still a lot of people stranded in Mazomanie in their houses, and we have boats with first responders going door to door, checking on people, making sure they're okay. At last report, they're a little over 40% done with that task. In some areas, the water has receded in a lot of Madison, although there are still some streets closed off in various main thoroughfares. But, it's a mess. I've lived here my entire life, and I've never seen anything like it.
Joe, I was very surprised to hear people were literally trapped overnight in Costco in Middleton last night. They had to be evacuated this morning. Joe, I can't get to the Middleton exits or entrances to the Beltline from where I'm at off University Avenue. Joe, there seemingly are quite a few significant roads still closed. What are some of the major thoroughfares, if you know, sir? What about over by Mineral Point Road, Memorial High School? That was a river last night. Have those roads reopened?
Yeah, I was over there about an hour or two ago, and depending where you are, more and more roads are open. The water is no longer, visible at that intersection at Mineral Point and Gammon. I don't have the latest report on if they have, officially opened it up yet. But if you go, there are portions around Whitney Way that are still closed, intersections. Some of the most, impactful closures, are, for example, Highway 14 just outside of Middleton on the way to Cross Plains. That's a very important road, and the further you get down there, the more closures they are. Earlier today, a portion of Highway M by Westport was still closed. So there's definitely still a lot going on. While water has receded in a lot of places, it still remains, and as I mentioned, in a couple places, it's still increasing a bit.
Now, Joe, I know there's lots of property damage to both commercial and private residences. I suspect many of the homeowners, many of the business owners may not be properly insured for this type of inland flooding. I mean, if you live on a river, you might have flood insurance, but the average guy living on the west side of Madison probably never bought flood insurance. Joe, do you anticipate some sort of disaster relief, state aid, federal aid? Is there help out there for people financially if their insurance does not help them?
Yeah, if folks have received damage or experienced damage from this, if you're a private homeowner, you should call 211. And they can take your information and help you document it and walk you through, what your options may be. If you're a business owner, you should reach out to your local municipality, and they can do the same for you. Part of why we declared a state of emergency today is because that helps set in motion the process for being able to apply for federal emergency relief aid. So, I mean, the good point that you're making with your question is we have the immediate concerns, making sure people are safe, getting the infrastructure back together, the roads open, and being able to, start getting back to business as usual after a few days. We're nowhere close to that yet. We've opened up 3 shelters, one in West Madison, one in Cross Plains, and one in Mason-Maney for the night. We'll do that triage, but eventually we will be in the rebuilding mode, and we want to make sure we're doing everything possible so that if there is aid available, that people have access to that.
Folks, you're listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Real Resistance Radio. Joe Parisi, Dane County Executive, joins us on the phone talking about the historic floods going on in Dane County right now. Joe, my understanding, you mentioned Highway 14, one of the bridges has actually washed out. What does that mean? How will traffic be in that area, and how long can residents expect that to still be out?
Yeah, we're still in the assessment mode, so I don't have time frames as far as rebuilding. But yeah, that specifically that bridge into Mazo, that's about as main a thoroughfare out in that area as you get, and that's washed out. And so now they're working on detours. Of course, one of the challenges out on that side of the county right now is a lot of the side roads were underwater too. So those details are all going to be, worked out as part of the assessment once the water goes down. We have to get in and assess the damage and look at how long it's going to take to rebuild, line up the funding, et cetera. But that's going to be a major piece of it right there. That's not that's not good news for Mason-Maney, that bridge going out.
Joe, Governor Walker, have you had any conversations with the governor? Has he offered any assistance? What's the governor saying about this?
I have not spoken with the governor today. To be honest, I haven't reached out to the governor. I've been busy, working on what we have to take care of locally. Our emergency management team does work with the state emergency management folks, who are always very helpful. And right now we're in the initial response mode, so I haven't had any conversations with him. I have heard that he is going to be visiting Western Dane County, I believe, tomorrow.
Well, the Journal-Sentinel's reporting, sir, that Paul Soglin, the mayor of Madison, had not heard from Governor Scott Walker as of 3 p.m. Walker apparently tweeted Tuesday morning he was monitoring the heavy rainfall, but then later tweeted he was speaking at a luncheon hosted by tourism officials. Apparently he's moved on, Joe. We know that Scott Walker has made a political opponent of the city of Madison and Dane County. He's in the middle of a re-election campaign. Joe, do you have any concerns that he's not going to give our backyard the proper attention, sir? Do you think for political reasons he might not want to look this way?
I would hope that won't become an issue. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and see how things unfold. This is a disaster of pretty enormous proportion, particularly for around here. We just don't experience this kind of thing. So, I'll take a wait and see and give him the benefit of the doubt, and hopefully he'll come through and do what he can for us.
Now, Republicans have taken away some of the ability of local municipalities, including Dane, to control the runoff into their own waterways, Joe. A loss of local control, if you will. Yeah. I also find it quite troubling that Republicans seemingly don't acknowledge the science of climate change. While this seems like a 100-year, 1,000-year flood, Joe, we might see more significant rainfall events like this as we move forward. Joe, what about the science? What about climate change? Is today the day to talk about this, or is it never a good time, according to our Republican friends?
Well, what we've experienced in the last 24 hours is consistent with the modeling that we've had done for us to look at how climate change is going to impact us locally. A few years ago, we being Dane County, partnered with the UW and asked them to do some modeling for us, because we need to know what to prepare for, how our weather is going to be different, how it's going to impact us. So as part of our emergency planning process, we wanted to know how climate change would impact us. And what that modeling showed was exactly what we've experienced the last half dozen years. It's warmer and wetter winters, more heavy rains, 100-year flooding, almost every few years is what we've been seeing. I mean, for an example, the Black Earth Creek this morning peaked at almost 2 feet higher than its previous all-time record. Wow. 2 feet higher. The rainfall that we received in Cross Plains, in excess of 15 inches, that was the highest in recorded history for the entire state of Wisconsin. The previous rain record for 24 hours was set in the 1940s in Ashland County, and that was just over 11 inches. So what we've experienced with this event is very consistent with what we've been experiencing the last few years. And, that there are obvious impacts. There are the public safety impacts, there are the economic impacts, there are the environmental impacts. We're very focused in Dane County on lakes cleanup and addressing the sources of the runoff that impact our water quality here. And so we're working, in partnership with our farmers and our communities to reduce runoff. But one of the challenges we're having is because of the increased rain and the changing climate that we are experiencing, in these huge rain events, heavy rain events happening so often, there's, the more heavy rain there is, the more runoff there's going to be. So it's a challenge, and it's hard to deny that it's real, although some people do, but it's impacting us in a number of ways, and today is certainly consistent with that pattern.
Joe Parisi, I was driving home from Milwaukee last night. I counted myself quite fortunate that I didn't drive into any flooding on my way home. I sort of dodged the storms. But last night's flooding was tragic. One man did lose his life. Older gentleman was washed away from his car, apparently drowned. The body has now been found. Joe, has the public been made aware of who is the deceased?
To my knowledge, that information has not been released yet. There's a series of, there's a process for having that happen, which obviously includes positively identifying the person and then making sure that person's family has been made aware. And I do not know what the timeline will be for releasing that information.
Joe, is the state of emergency still in effect? And if people want to find out more about what's going on, where would you direct them to go?
Well, I have to say that the local media has been doing a really good job covering this event. People can look to, for breaking news. I was actually and continue to I've been breaking a lot of the reports that we've been getting over Twitter. They can follow Dane County Emergency Management. My Twitter account is at DaneCoJoe. If they want to look, we'll be breaking news on that as we learn. And last night we were sharing information about highways that were closed, et cetera, and urging people to stay off the road. So they can follow us, or they can, like I said, I think the local media has been doing a really, really good job in covering this.
And Joe, one more time, people can call 211 if they've been personally affected by property damage from this flooding?
Yeah, and they can give them all the information that they need to know as far as documenting and what options might be available for them.
Dane County Executive Joe Parisi, we appreciate the update, sir, and we hate to have you on under this circumstance. Let's hope it's another 100 years, but I suspect we might see and might have the need to have a conversation like this again in the future. Joe, thank you so much for what you do. Thank you for joining the Devil's Advocates today.
Yeah, thank you, guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Folks, we are Real Resistance Radio. I got to tell you, that was some strange weather. Up to 4 inches of rainfall an hour.
Wow.
Fallen in my backyard last night, man, and I felt quite fortunate to have dodged the flooding. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Your time to react. 844-967-2789.
I don't think the heavy stuff's going to come down for quite a while.
Brad Zog, owner of Zero Res Madison. Brad, why should people use Zero Res Madison?
Why wouldn't you clean your carpets like this? We've got a patented system. We also do another step that most people don't do. We have a double rotating brush machine that we use when we pre-treat the carpet. So this helps dig up any of that stuff that's deeper in your carpet that the vacuum doesn't get. We're going to provide that intermediary step before we clean with our empowered water.
Call Zero Res today, 608-848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Hi, I'm Becky from Bounce Milwaukee, and I want to be the first to invite you to our newest attraction, axe throwing at Fling Milwaukee. Bring your friends, date, co-workers, or family to experience the rush of throwing axes at Milwaukee's first indoor throwing arena. Open 6 days a week for corporate team building, bachelor and bachelorette parties, date night, or just a fun night out. More information at flingmilwaukee.com or 414-312-4357.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call the number on a for sale sign?
Great questions. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you a home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust. Your agent will best find the home that fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from offer through closing day. And most home listing contracts stipulate that the seller's agent pays for the buyer's commission.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-284-9311, or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday. Closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Excuse me, I know you have a 9 o'clock, so I'll keep this short. I'm the business suit in the back of your closet. You wore me nearly every day before your office went, quote, casual. I used to be the CEO of your closet. Now I'm just that one intern no one ever talks to. I always thought you'd circle back with me, get granular, keep me in the pipeline. But nada, nothing. Don't you remember the McKittrick presentation? You spilled coffee on me, and I still looked amazing during the breakout talkback Q&A. So, I think it's time for me to move on. I've got a great resume and I absolutely crush it in interviews, okay? Let's make this a clean break. Shift the paradigm. The only thing I ask is that you think outside the box here and do this. Take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create new jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
It's a lot easier to measure how many times students use a semicolon correctly in an essay.
Educated educators talking education.
Than it is to measure how many wonderful ideas are in that essay.
Busted Pencils.
There is no teacher shortage.
With Dr. Tim Slecker.
There is a teacher exit.
Featuring Matt Damon's mom.
You want to know what my mom would say?
We've had an intrusion into education.
Busted Pencils Radio. Saturdays at 11 on Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocates. We drink when we toast when we drink.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Real Resistance Radio, streaming on the YouTube and Facebook pages, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and you can always join us. We exercise your free speech at 844-967-2789.
Dominic, want to thank a couple of fine guests. Most recently, it was Dane County Executive Joe Parisi giving us an update on the fatal flooding that happened in my backyard. Dane County underwater in the short run. It's drying out now, but there are still many closed roads. Thank you, Joe Parisi. Also, earlier in the show, Congressman Mark Pocan. Obviously, Mark, this is his district, and, I'm sure Mark's heart goes out as well to all the people who suffered property damage. And, of course, the one fatality overnight, a man washed from his car. Tomorrow on the big show, we got Phil Anderson. We've got Charles Franklin, New Marquette University Law School polling. You know I get nearly giddy with the new polling. And we got Ed Wall, Scott Walker's former Department of Corrections secretary. He's joining me in the broadcast bunker. And then me and Ed are going out for beers, and we're going to swap some stories.
844-967-2789. You can swap some stories with us right now and up until 6 o'clock. Wisco Paul, you are next. Thanks for calling, Paul. What do you got for us today?
Hey, Paul.
Thanks for taking my call, Devils. Dom, what a fun day to come back to work.
Right? Wow.
He picked the right day off, didn't he?
Yeah, his timing is impeccable. Hey, that's a lot of rain down there, Cootie. You lucked out. I have some relatives that live in the Black Earth area, and it's pretty hairy down there.
I had no idea how bad it had gotten last night, Paul. I mean, I knew it was coming down cats and dogs, buckets of rain, but I had no idea until I tried to go to my bank today. And I realized, I tried 3-4 different directions to get across the belt line. You could not get on the belt line. You could not cross under the belt line. It's just an inconvenience for me, but thank goodness, as far as I know, just one fatality last night. And quite frankly, with rivers running down the streets, it could have been worse, Paul.
Yeah, well, at least Walker don't. Scotto, you don't have to worry about these flies everywhere.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I'd like to say a little something in there about Scotto flying around the state on my dime. He's looking down on me like he's my overlord or something. I don't know. Well, I have to drive his crap roads down here, so I just like to say, Scotto, you can suck lemons.
I'm glad he said lemons.
Yeah, me too, man. A little late for a dump at the end there. Thank you for the call. Wisco Paul, you can join us, 844-967-2789, crew.
Dominic, I've got some breaking news. Ed Wall and his publicist have sent me some responses. He says Scott Walker lies. Scott Walker says he lies. He's got a response. I'll share it with you. We're going to do a little Walker bashing next. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates, Real Resistance Radio.
A lot of people are disappointed in the Justice Department, including
I'm Jesse
me.
Peikelholz with Solidarity Realty. If you're looking for a home in Madison or Dane County, call me. I know Madison. I know homes. I'll protect your best interests. Call Solidarity Realty at 608-284-9222. 9311 or search solidarityrealty.com.
This message is for all of you sitting in the passenger seat. And apologies if it gets a little uncomfortable, but how does it feel to be at the mercy of someone who thinks a random text is more important than your life? Someone who takes their eyes off the road while speeding along in a 3-ton hunk of steel. Freaky, right? Well, why not just ask them to stop? Or better yet, volunteer to text for them. It might be a little awkward, but believe me, you'll live.
Learn more at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Looking for a job worth talking about? Teaching is creative, collaborative, and intellectually challenging. See why teachers have better work stories at teachdfw.org and learn more about becoming a teacher. Brought to you by Teach and the Ad Council.
It's hard to dream when you're fighting for 15. This is Pizza Box Mike for Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Check out fightfor15.org to get involved in the fight for 15.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property, or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
I'm afraid right now for the future of my children's generation and those to come.
In this age of mass school shootings, Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker offers the same bold agenda of the National Rifle Association.
Make sure you remember in your thoughts and more importantly in your prayers.
While Walker offers platitudes, he blocks meaningful gun safety legislation.
It's really an honor to work with the NRA, not only in my state, but across the country. And I'm proud of my A+ ranking as a governor.
Walker weakened the gun laws in Wisconsin, and then he got $3.5 million worth of NRA support.
There have been men and women of courage who've been willing to stand up and think more about the future of their children and their grandchildren than they thought about their own futures.
Scott Walker, you are not one of them. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
The Devil's Advocates.
James Santel, he's a former U.S. attorney. He's our guest live on Brady.
Once again, a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen, to talk about the latest news breaking as we speak.
The FBI raided Michael Cohen, Trump's personal attorney, but once they got there, then they went back and got a more thorough warrant and said, we'll take everything.
My first reaction is you need to teach criminal constitutional law. You've got it just right in terms of the process.
They are kind of a big deal.
This is a really big deal.
For Real Resistance Radio, I'm Stu Daniels with your headlines. A California company has purchased 28 acres of land near the Foxconn site. Lansing Companies of Sacramento purchased the parcel, which is located in the town of Yorkville. The development firm said they are planning a gas station, restaurants, and possibly a limited service hotel for the site. And the Brewers beat the Reds last night 5-2. They'll play Game 2 of that 3-game series tonight at Miller Park. Outside today, rain likely in Milwaukee, scattered showers in Madison. Temperatures today in the mid-70s and then clearing skies tonight with lows in the upper 50s in Milwaukee, mid-50s in Madison. Tomorrow, sunshine, highs in the mid-70s. Thursday, sunshine, highs in the upper 70s. You're listening to Real Resistance Radio.
The Devil's Advocates. Political commentary from the back of the class.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show. The happy hour continues. And Dominic, about 24 happy hours from now, Ed Wall is going to join me in the broadcast bunker right here in Middleton, Wisconsin. Might have to send a boat out to the highway to help Ed get in.
Right.
But I guarantee we'll find a way. Ed Wall joins me tomorrow. But I got a statement from Ed Wall today. I'd like to share it with our audience. I think this is somewhat newsworthy, Dom, as it is addressed at the top. One might call it the headline. The lies just keep coming from Scott Walker administration. Statement from Ed Wall, former Secretary of Correction for Scott Walker's administration. August 20th, 2018. I'd like to set the record straight about last week's allegations by the Walker administration. Number one, according to Ed Wall, let's not forget he wrote that book, Unethical. You can find it at unethicalbook.com. But number one, according to Ed Wall, I have never lied or misled the administration or the public. Number two, I was not terminated for dishonesty, as the Attorney General stated to the media. Number three, the public record the Attorney General refers to in ending my career was simply my own personal appeal document, nothing more. I outlined the Attorney General's violations of state law, state policy, and his abuse of authority. Number four, Attorney General Brad Schimmel blatantly violated open records laws twice in attempting to affect public opinion and terminating me to make room for his friend and transition director to take my position in the DOJ as head of the Division of Criminal Investigation. 5. For many years, I requested additional resources and support for the Department of Corrections, Lincoln Hills, and Copper Lake School while in the secretary role for the administration. The Walker administration saw the problems as an inconvenient issue while he was attempting his presidential run. Number 6, I resigned from my position at the request of the Walker administration as they sought to find scapegoats for the inaction at Lincoln Hills and Copper Lake School. And number 7, when taking the secretary position with the administration, I was guaranteed restoration to my former law enforcement role with the Department of Justice by state law, state policy, and the administration. That was the position I referred to in my inquiries after leaving this secretary position. Despite assertions to the contrary, I was never lobbying for a position and only tried to return to my statutorily protected civil service position. Now, Ed Wall writes on, I'm going to read the conclusion of his statement. I repeatedly shared my concerns with the governor, his chief of staff, the attorney general, and his top appointees. Unfortunately, whistleblower protections do not protect, do not protect cabinet secretaries, according to the Department of Workforce Development, one of the governor's cabinet agencies. Therefore, I decided to share my story because I believe the public has the right to know the real Scott Walker and Brad Schimmel. And if you'd like the whole story, my book is available right now at Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle formats, as well as on iBooks and select bookstores. For more information, please visit unethicalbook.com. Thank you, Ed Wall, my soon-to-be guest, tomorrow at least, here in the broadcast bunker.
What is it about Republicans that, you know, they're crew, right? They're tight. These are my boys. This is my crew. But as soon as you cross them, as soon as you don't toe the line, as soon as you have some semblance of independence and perhaps raise some concerns that they don't want to hear about, right away you're on the outs. And I don't care if it's Scott Walker or if it's Donald Trump. That seems to be the case with these power-hungry Republicans.
I'm not saying it's Republicans, Dom. I think it is the specific individual, Scott Walker. And let's not forget, Ed Wall also told us when he last appeared on the show a week ago Friday, Scott Walker's administration made Ed Wall meet with the private prison industry, had to go meet with the lobbyists thereof. Scott Walker bought and paid for it, and he wants his cabinet secretaries to go help him cash some checks as well.
Absolutely.
And that's the same statement made by Bilston, I believe, the second Walker cabinet secretary, who has subsequently endorsed Tony Evers, made a video against the current governor, and the second one that represented that Scott Walker directed them to meet, in this case, in Bilston's case, with the payday lending industry. And also both cabinet secretaries, along with Jaden, the former CEO at Weedick, all three cabinet secretaries said that Mike Hipsch, then the Department of Administration administrator, cabinet secretary, and the Scott Walker administration made it very clear to all of them, no records, no paper trail. That's how they operated, completely in the dark. Their corruption, not done for the public to digest.
No, of course not. Just like the mob, you have a face-to-face, quiet conversation away from everybody else. But again, what does he say? I've decided to share my story because I believe the public has a right to know the real Scott Walker and Brad Schimmel. Well, Ed, we've been telling people about the real Scott Walker and the real A.G. Schimmel for years. So welcome to the party, pal. 844-967-2789. We got some callers. Let's get to them. Jake from Milwaukee, you're up. Thanks for calling. What do you got for us today?
Hey, Jake.
Yeah, hey, how you guys doing? I just wanted to bring in, put together something here, but that first Ed Walls interview was really good, by the way. I think it was scathing, and he didn't even give us more than 10% of what he knows.
Got to buy the book, man.
Yeah, so... But one thing I would think is, remember John Doe 2, and we found about when that poor kid got crushed by out of Summerfest by the parking garage?
Yeah, a slab of concrete fell off the parking garage.
Yeah, and you remember how his staff were like, "Oh, you gotta push this away from us. You can't make it seem like we knew or did anything wrong because he was running for governor, right?"
Their response was purely political. It wasn't a human response. It was a political response. It was effectively a political cover-up right from the get-go.
So when Ed Wall said him and Brad Schimmel, and their directors, like, no, there's no value for House of Corrections, it's the same thing. And Scott Walker just pretty much Freudian slip said no value. He was meaning no value for him as in campaigning, as in trying to win something. I mean, I think that was a Freudian slip. He let it go.
Well, and
maybe wasn't
any
thinking.
way you interpret it, Jake, it's bad news. There's no value for him politically. Well, that's a very short-sighted way to look at it. No value for the citizens of the state of Wisconsin, for the governor who was actually in charge of this, to have some oversight for the people in our prisons, of course. And Governor Walker was a big part of putting more people in the prison with truth in sentencing. And no value for the prisoners there. I mean, there's no good way to spin the way he put it as no value. I believe him when he says it. When people offer you, Jake, who they are, accept it.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I mean, he just says there's no value. If he can't get campaign cash or you can't do something for him, you're of no value to Scott Walker, which means he's a lot like Trump. I mean, he is our version of Trump in Wisconsin. He's the proto-Trump governor autocrat. I don't know. But
Trump's going to come here to the state of Wisconsin, Jake, apparently at the invitation of Leah Vukmir, and Trump will campaign in the state of Wisconsin. You can count on it for Scott Walker and for Leah Vukmir between now and the fall election. Donald Trump will darken our doorstep once again. Bet on it.
Maybe he won't. Maybe he'll I have a feeling, and this is my last prediction, I think Donald Trump, he's having a rally tonight, right?
Yep.
In Charlottesville?
West Virginia, I think.
West Virginia, he is going to incite some sort of violence, I think. Maybe not straight out, maybe with some dog whistle, but he's going to, because things are getting pretty hard for him now with Cohen flipping and Manafort guilty on 8 charges. So watch for it. I predict it.
I must admit, I'm going to watch this little campaign event rally, and we appreciate the call, Jake, but I'm going to watch gleefully. And, Dom, something else I'm just a skosh gleeful about?
What's that, Mike?
There's more Republicans going to jail, as CNN reporting at this moment. Rep. Duncan Hunter and his wife indicted in use of campaign funds for personal expenses. Rep. Duncan Hunter and his wife Margaret were indicted Tuesday on charges related to the misuse of $250,000 worth of campaign funds for personal expenses and the filing of false campaign finance reports. The records of wire fraud, falsifying records, campaign finance violations, and conspiracy were the culmination of a Department of Justice investigation that have stretched for more than a year, during which the Republican congressman from California has maintained his innocence.
I can't wait to prove my innocence.
The Justice Department said the Hunters are scheduled to be arraigned Thursday morning in federal court in San Diego. Republican Party leaders had long worried that with a potential indictment looming, Hunter's traditionally safe district, which makes up much of eastern San Diego County, could be at risk of Democratic takeover in November's midterm election.
Now, the Hill reporting Crudy $250,000 misuse of campaign funds for repeated trips to Europe and dental work.
Yeah, I've got a list here as well. An Italian vacation, dental work, purchases at a surf shop, and huge tabs at bars and restaurants in San Diego and Washington, D.C. Among the most mocked charges was airfare for a pet rabbit to fly with the family, which an aide said was mistakenly charged to the wrong credit card.
Oh, I hate it when that happens.
Hunter, a former Marine, has reimbursed his campaign some $65,000 since the FEC commission first questioned spending on video games in 2016, according to the FEC.
Well,
records.
hey, I mean, video games, that's okay.
That was wrong campaign spending, but it was not done by me, Hunter told KGTV 10, a San Diego television station earlier this year. His comments have cast blame on his wife and former campaign manager, Margaret Hunter, who also made charges on the campaign credit card. I didn't do it. It's my wife's fault. I mean, literally, when you throw your wife under the bus, when you've been accused, I read on briefly, Hunter's lawyers say last year, any mistakes that were made, they were strictly inadvertent and unintentional. You know, Dom, $250,000.
Yeah.
Who can keep straight which credit card you put the Buddy airline ticket on, right? Was that the campaign credit card, or was that a personal credit card?
I'll just use the one we charged the bar tab at last night. That's the only one I had on me. What are you going to do? Life's tough. $250,000. I mean, when you blow through $250,000 illegally, campaign funds, you didn't know.
$250,000 on a campaign, Dom? That's barely 3 days of spending for Scott Walker's failed presidential campaign.
Nice.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. Phone lines open and toll-free for you. You're not going to spend like $250,000 calling us. Don't blame us on the FEC filings. Scott Walker, though, will put you to the top of the list. 844-967-2789. And even if you're a Scott P. Walker and not a Scott K. Walker, we'll take your calls unscreened here.
What do you think of these online reports that say you had a love child in college?
But with the Walker administration, particularly with the governor, everything is about deniability. And that's what they're trying to do. They, oh, he never saw it. That's what they'll say about everything.
It wasn't true. It was a Scott Walker, a Scott P. Walker. I'm Scott Kevin Walker.
Join the resistance against dirty carpets. Call Zero Res Madison today for our summer special. Clean and sanitize 3 rooms for only $139. Call 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Listen and imagine. It takes 5 seconds to send a text, and for those 5 seconds, you're driving blind. Life is worth more than a text. Stay alive. Don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Five9, your local single-source IT solutions provider, specializing in cloud technology, consulting, servers, networks, and hosting. We manage your IT so you can focus on running your business. Enjoy technology. Enjoy five9s.com.
All workers benefit from unions, as unions create the highest standard in wages, health and welfare, retirement security, and workplace protections. Hello, this is Tom Bennett, President of Teamsters General Local 200. Your voice is your strength. The ability to build a stronger and better tomorrow begins today. Teamsters Local 200 represents workers in numerous industries, and our team is ready to sit down with you and your co-workers to build your unified team. Call Teamsters Local 200 at 414-771-6363 or visit us on Facebook or www.teamsterslocal200.com.
I'm jumping in with my clothes on.
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
We are live outside the home of Joe and Rosie Goddard, where a pretty big tickle fight broke out just minutes ago. Sources say their father instigated the laughter. Let's go inside for a comment. Apparently, they have no comment. Dads, let this be a reminder that it only takes a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Indoor baseball, anyone?
Most party fouls are pretty dumb, but if you decide to drink and drive underage, you could lose your license and your freedom. Learn more at ultimatepartyfoul.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The Resistance is live 7 days a week here on Real Resistance Radio. Tune in Sundays for Meet the Press with Chuck Todd from 11 a.m. to noon. Then it's the Jeff Santos Show, kicking ass for the middle class from 12 to 3 p.m. And Citizen Action's Battleground Wisconsin rages from 3 to 4 p.m. Get your groove on with Stu Man PM, politics and music, 4 to 6 p.m. with Stu Daniels. Mandatory listening, always streaming at realresistanceradio.com.
The Devil's Advocates. Never personal, only politics.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Real Resistance Radio. Last segment of the day. So if you've got something to say, now is the time. 844-967-2789. Let's get to the phones. We've got several callers holding. Let's start with Gary from Sussex, our conservative pal from up north there. Hey, Gary, calling to take your beating. Welcome. What do you got for us today?
Hey, Gary.
Well, Mike and Dom, you guys must be really flying high today, but I hate to be going to be raining on your rose garden. Hey, I got to look at something positive here. Okay, first of all, I don't think that he was trying to influence an election. I think what he was doing with Cohen was paying these two women off so Melania wouldn't kill him, so he could actually become president of the United States.
Why wait, though? Why not pay him off a long time ago?
Well, look you guys are going to have to.
Well, but I got to say, if I may, Gary, let me just interject. During the agreement, Cohen actually said that he paid it for the purpose of influencing specifically said purpose of influencing the election at the direction of the federal office seeker. So I mean, he's saying the Cohen's saying it was for the election and it was from Trump.
But the thing is, he says, she says, he's a lousy witness. Look at how would you like to have a personal lawyer taping you so he could hold an ace in his pocket? I mean, you gotta. He's a scumball.
But what does that say about the guy that hired him, Gary?
Yeah, well, the thing is, like
it takes a scumball to hire a scumball, Gary? I mean, come on.
Well, listen much. You guys, see, the thing is, I have this big advantage. I heard one of you guys, I can't remember if it was Dom or Mike, talking about listening to Trump tonight. You guys need to do this. You guys need to listen to the other side, because if I listen to conservative radio sometimes during the day, I listen to you guys every night coming home from work. And I hear your side and I hear the other people's side. It's like two different stories. You know, you guys are sitting there, you know, think you got him, and yet the conservative people say, well, it's nothing. Trump will get past this. It's only.
But we're telling you the truth, Gary. Don't believe the fiction on Whitey Talk Radio.
I mean, you can interpret it for yourself, Gary. 8 convictions and 8 confessions. I mean, that with Manafort and Cohen.
Manafort is in big trouble. And he's going to be spending a good amount of time in prison. I don't think Cohen's going to spend a day in prison because I think they're going to give him such a pretty deal. You know,
well, what's he going to get for the deal? He's already pled guilty, and the
Fox News is reporting
3 to 5 years, Gary. Yeah, 3 to 5 years. He's pleading guilty to now.
In the Conrad Hilton Hotel prison, and give me a break, you guys. You know,
hey, he's still giving up his freedom. I've been to Huber, Gary. Huber seems like club fed. You know what I mean? And that's like day camp. They let you out 12 hours a day. But that loss of personal freedom, I mean, Gary, it is almost intolerable to be imprisoned or put in jail. Think of what we do to young black people in the city of Milwaukee every day for minor marijuana possessions and other insignificant charges. And then think about the president of the United States, who is effectively, as of today, Gary, an unindicted co-conspirator. The other guy has already pled guilty to the crime. The president of the United States is an unindicted co-conspirator in breaking campaign finance laws.
Right, but the thing is, it's what Cohen says. Trump, all he has to say is, I did this so Melania doesn't find out or whatever. I mean, it's his word against.
But it doesn't matter, and we got it on tape, Gary.
That's right.
Lordy, let there be tapes, Gary.
Just like Omarosa went out there and said that she's got Trump using the N-word. I have it on tape. I have it in my possession.
But we've heard it, Gary. We've heard the Cohen Trump tape.
You know, so, well, whatever. It's
Gary, you're a brave soldier.
Yeah, man. I do, man. We love it, Gary. Thank you so much. We want to get a few others in here before we run out of time.
I listen to Whitey Talk Radio. I just don't believe the hype.
Pizza Box Mike, you're up. What do you got for us?
Wasted 5 minutes. I had to listen. See, that's why we don't want to listen to the other side, because the other side doesn't say anything. Actually, the other side is Trump every night on TV, and you guys keep defending him. You know what's really good about marijuana? Not that it isn't quite legal yet, but it's great for pain. We know that. We heard that from Dr. Gupta. But it also helps us laugh, Gary.
It makes Whitey callers just a little more tolerable, doesn't it, Michael? We appreciate all our conservative listeners. Thank you, Gary. Thank you, Pizza Box Mike. Thank you, Dane County Executive Joe Parisi. Thank you to my Congressman, Mark Pocan. Don't forget, tomorrow's big show, Phil Anderson, Libertarian gubernatorial candidate, Charles Franklin, Newmarket University Law School polling, and Ed Wall joins me in the broadcast bunker. A little more telling all about the unethical Scott Walker. Gary, I hope you tune in tomorrow as well. It's going to be another great show, just like this one was. Thank you all for listening. Don't forget the number of the day, 8. Ha, ha, ha.
If I did a tenth of what she did, I would be in jail today.
8 is great. It makes me shout, hooray, 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 hooray. That's 8. 8 hoorays.
Very powerful.
Lock her up. Lock her up.
Do you love public education? Do you want to support your schools? Then you should support the people who make them work. You should support teachers and their unions. Teachers' working conditions are students' learning conditions, and when the school bell rings, it is crucial that teachers do not check their rights at the door. The ability to organize and advocate around issues